going on, everybody? Welcome back to another exciting episode of the Viall Files Reality Recap Edition. I'm your host, Nick, joined by my magical, wonderful, supportive wife, Nigel Joins.
And I am joined by the household.
Yay!
Yay! Sierra, Justin, Mary.
Happy Valentine's Day, everybody.
Hey, you
Emphasis
said it
on
right.
the tines, because sometimes...
Tines with an N.
Sometimes it's times.
Sometimes it feels like it should be. We have an extraordinary episode lined up for you today. So many great shows are out there. Everyone's talking about them. We have the documentary of America's Next Top Model that's now on Netflix.
Reality check.
Woo, that, if you guys have not seen that, if you have ever watched a single episode or even heard about America's Next Top Model starring Tyra Banks, you are going to want to check that out. We also have season 10 of Love is Blind out there and rocking and rolling. And this one is a good one. Well, we're really enjoying it. We also, later this episode, have Nigel Barker from America's Next Top Model. He was one of the main characters of the show, one of the celebrity judges, and he is with us to talk about his experience and the documentary that is obviously sweeping the nation. We also have Love is Blind season 10 out as well, and we also have Kevan from this season to talk about his love triangle and so much more. Also, Traitors is out there. Everyone's still talking about that one. So lots and lots of great TV to get into. Plus, we have the Housewives of Beverly Hills.
The real ones.
Much more. Also, don't forget, Viall Files Plus is now ad-free. Every Viall Files episode you can listen to ad-free on Viall Files Plus. Plus, get your reality recap deep dives where we dive really deep into some of your favorite reality TV shows like Love is Blind Season 10, as well as our update specials, your favorite updates from your favorite SNet callers, and your pop culture roundups, all your favorite topics we didn't get to talk about during the week. So be sure to check it out. Just go to viallfiles.com to sign up. Also, don't forget, Viall Files is going live with the upcoming cast of Temptation Island May 6th in LA. So if you want to join us in the upcoming cast of Temptation Island, it's going to be a wild, wacky, sexy, fun live event. Bring your friends, bring yourself, bring whoever you want. At Netflix is a joke. You can get tickets now. Well, they are available. Again, go to viallfiles.com. Did you guys have a good Valentine's? You guys do anything? Mary's hair got pinker.
My hair did get pinker.
The season of love.
I was going to say she's feeling the love.
I'm feeling the love.
I love Valentine's Day.
Me too.
So
Even though I hate love, I love Valentine's Day.
Why do you hate love?
Why? Why do you hate love?
No, I don't
She
actually
just-
hate
she just
love.
hasn't
I just
experienced
like
it yet.
Unpack it.
Once
Yeah.
you experience
You
it,
wanna
you
talk
will
about
love love.
I wore my Justin Bieber approved red cardigan sweater
Oh.
for brunch.
We were very on
I saw that you
Yeah.
guys matched. What was the, Natalie, that was for sure on purpose.
Well, no.
No?
I picked that out myself. Dad dressed himself that morning.
Oh.
We all obviously were like feeling the love. We were feeling the pinky and the reds. And so we all kind of dressed on theme.
Cute.
If you guys haven't noticed, we're wearing some new merch that is actually available this Thursday. And it's the greatest merch ever created by any podcast ever. Certainly by us. Really proud of this. Natalie and the team did a great job. All I did was give my opinion. But if you're looking for a really classic sweatshirt that says like, oh, I got this at a vintage store from the 80s, that's exactly what you're going to get with
You
the
finally have your household.
Yeah,
and
your household
how's your
sweatshirt.
heart.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, how's your heart and the household? I can't tell which one I like the most.
I will
They're
say Danny's a very harsh critic when it comes to like fashion in general. And I was wearing the household sweatshirt and he was like, where'd you get that from? And then he also was like, are you going to get me a hat? Because I want to wear it.
I love the
Good.
maroon.
Well, unfortunately,
hat.
not everyone can get one because the supply is very limited. So get it while you can.
There is a countdown. You can sign up to the countdown to be notified when the merch is live with the link in our bio. Sign up, put your email in, fall in love with the merch just like we are. You're welcome.
I love a countdown.
I've been, I don't know where this is going to go. I realized something that I really enjoy that my wife says.
And what's that?
This is...
I feel like that
gonna
was
give weird kink. This is like, I don't know.
Is when she goes, absolutely fucking not.
It's absolutely the fuck not.
Absolutely the fuck not.
Oh, he loves it so much that he knows.
That he doesn't even know what it is.
When she goes, absolutely the fuck not,
Yeah.
I find it to be hot. I think it's the decisiveness. Anyone else?
Yeah, I
Want me
mean,
to say it for
that's
y'all?
great.
she's definitely
Yeah, say it.
like
Or-
Say it, Natalie.
absolutely the fuck not.
Awesome.
Word.
How'd you feel?
Awesome.
Period.
And on or-
How'd you feel?
I a
Usually
chill
it
ran
has a
through my
little bit
spine.
more oomph behind
Will you
it.
marry me?
It's just always nice to know where she stands,
Mhm.
you know? And that is backed by a lot of decisiveness.
what warrants an absolutely the fuck not versus
What did
a
you ask
no.
me?
Huh?
Maybe a fashion thing question.
Oh, did y'all
possibly?
see what Nick is wearing on his feet?
No,
No.
we actually can't
Guys,
see your feet.
The van showed up.
Oh.
Are they true to size?
They are true to size if you're honest with yourself.
Oh.
Got it.
These are a 10 and a half, which my whole life I've been like, I'm an 11. And when it comes to like Nikes,
Sure.
I'm an 11. But I've realized, like, I think 10 and a half is really the most honest
Did your feet
Yeah,
shrink?
shoe size, which 10 and a half and 11 just sound so different. It's like the difference between 6 foot and 5'10".
Mhm.
It's funny because I guess for men, maybe it's like 10 and a half may sound like a big difference from 11, but it's the same way that I feel when I'm like 8.5 versus 8, where I'm like, okay, Bigfoot, you know?
It's me where I'm like, no, I'm a 7. I'm not a 6.5.
Yeah.
I'm a big girl.
No, my feet grew during pregnancy,
Yeah.
half a size. And Natalie, did that happen to you?
Leia gave me your
Yeah, it
old
did,
shoes.
but then it
That's
But
normal.
did it go
though.
back?
Yeah,
though?
mine went back.
No, I am now absolutely the fuck not. Now I am an 8.5, and I've always been an
Hot,
8,
yeah.
and none of my shoes fit
Now,
me.
when you say they grew, like length,
I don't know, my shoes just don't fit the same way that they did before. I think they grew in length. It's a thing, apparently.
Yeah, it is a thing.
Mhm.
Among all the other weird things that could
that's a
happen to you when
thing
you're
for
pregnant.
the pregnant people out there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
So
I
not
need
only
all-
do we have to endure everything we have to endure, we also have to get rid of all of our shoes.
Mhm.
Oh my
God.
god!
Or you could be me and just keep squeezing into your old shoes.
Or get
That's
tiny.
why, that's why Carrie never had kids.
Literally.
Yeah.
Too
Literally.
expensive. Nice joke.
That was
Well,
good.
that was for the
That was a really
girlies.
good joke.
Sex in
Oh.
the City, baby.
She's like, I'm sorry, there's too many shoes here.
She's like, all of those Manila
yeah.
Blahniks, I'm not getting rid of them.
Mm-mm.
Nope.
We're going through a lot of baby names right now. I wish I could sample some with you guys.
Mm.
Can you please?
Can you sample the ones that are no-goes?
But sample all of them, all genders.
Well, we're really centered around gender neutral right now because there's one name in particular we feel really good about, and it's in the general neutral area. And so we're playing around with a lot of gender neutral
Well,
names.
also like River is
General
gender neutral.
neutral.
So just
General
like-
neutral?
gender neutral.
Yeah, there you
Yeah.
go.
General
Thank
and
you.
neutral.
General neutral would actually
general,
be a beautiful
it's general
name.
neutral.
It kind of
It's
works.
General.
Yeah,
right?
general neutral.
Yeah, general
Yeah.
neutral works.
Speaking of Valentine's Day, did anyone go see Wuthering Heights?
Wait, yes. Can I have the floor for a second?
Please, Justin, take it away.
Why did they market this film as a Valentine's Day extravaganza event? Because
Oh, I mean, I can tell you without seeing the film or having
Horny.
read the book
It's
and know nothing
sexy,
about
right?
it because it came out on and around Valentine's Day, and
Well,
Well,
That's what he's
but-
saying.
yeah,
But
He's
why
saying
did they-
why it came out.
Yeah, marketing is intentional.
They decided to release
no,
it.
because I'm part of the population and I take responsibility for this that
Uh-huh.
had no idea what Wuthering Heights was going into it. But I was like, Margot Robbie, Jacob Elordi, sexy music, Charlie XCX, like
Amazing
aesthetic. I was
soundtrack.
like, I'm so into this. I'm gonna go into it blind.
because you think of the word
And?
hot, sexy people, it's like those are hot, sexy people.
Literally. But first of all, who in this room has read this book or knows the story?
What is it about?
I have not read this book, but I have heard
Sad
that
women.
it's not at all like what the movie is.
No, so it's so different from the book, but also the movie is so like you leave it being like speechless, but not in a way that you believe in love. Like I feel like I was like
So it's an
unre-
Emerald Fennell movie.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it wasn't as horny as I wanted. Like I was going into it
The
wanting more.
writer
Like
director Emerald Fennell of Wuthering Heights.
Yes, that's
yeah,
her.
yeah, yeah.
Is it giving? What was the last Jacob Elordi movie that everyone loved and I hated?
Saltburn.
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 Well, that's her.
Which was
Is
Emerald
it giving
Fennell.
Saltburn?
Yes.
There's a
Okay.
Tina Fey actually did a bit where she was like, "Oh, you're gonna have to act surprised about the next Emerald Fennell movie when it takes a sexually violent third turn in the third act," and that's what I heard did happen.
Yeah, just you leave it kind of being like what was that?
Yeah.
Like, not in a
That's-
way that you believe in even unrequited love. Like, you're
It's
kind of
not
just.
an uplifting
And
story.
then you read the synopsis of the book and you're like, this is even more traumatizing and
Yeah.
different. And like, you know the characters. And the whole time I'm just like, Nelly girl. Like what?
mentally abusive, emotionally abusive.
Just, yeah. And it was just like, how was this the Valentine's Day movie that everybody was going to watch?
Well,
Someone posted a video being like, I guess people are mad about the casting
The casting.
yeah. There's,
because I believe Kathan was supposed to be like this young, like stringy haired
yes, younger.
Mhm.
girl. And
She's like a teenager. Yeah.
I saw someone post like, if I were in charge of casting, and it was like Kathan, Blake Lively, Heathcliff, Justin Baldoni.
you know, what I did on my Friday night before Valentine's Day is the full Charlie soundtrack did drop. So I got a little wine
Mm.
drunk, cooked myself pasta, noise canceling headphones, blasting that soundtrack. Oh my God, I think I ascended to another plane.
It
of
is good
reality.
music.
You're not like nervous to wear noise canceling headphones?
She wears
In
them
my
all
home?
day.
Oh, I'm nervous.
Oh, well,
No,
I have
would
like roommates.
Actually,
and,
never.
Well, I also have like
Why?
roommates and stuff who are with their like,
Because there
you
could
know,
be an
significant
intruder.
others, and then it
Wait.
was just me.
Natalie, I want to know why you don't do it because I also don't wear noise
I have
canceling.
intruder syndrome,
Mhm.
and I'm constantly thinking that someone is trying to put a bag over my head and throw me in their van.
Mhm.
The killer.
And it's like, oh, if I'm wearing noise canceling headphones, they're going to be like, we don't even have to like be sneaky. We can just, you can't hear a thing.
Yeah. It's kind of like that movie Hush,
Mm.
like where you don't know what your surroundings are.
Yeah. Well, I like to live in fear.
Bold.
Thanks.
Well, I watched a movie over Valentine's Day that I thought was actually really good
did
and
you watch?
uplifting. Eternity with Elizabeth Olsen
I did
and
wanna watch
Miles
that one, too.
Teller. It's really good. Just saying, if you
Well,
want
it's
like
one
a
of the
feel
highest
good.
viewed movies on Apple TV right now, right?
Well, that's it, because that's what I was looking for. I was like, I want to watch a rom com with Connor, but like not something that's too cheesy. But I want something that's like uplifting, feel good, but it's not depressing. Not a P.S. I love you. Not something where we're like crying or don't know what we signed ourselves up for. And we did Eternity, and it was a very, very, very cute comedy.
Nice.
The only TV we watched were some reality TV and Homeland. We are watching Homeland.
Mhm.
Oh.
But I did, on our way to brunch on Saturday, Natalie put on a beautiful, lovely Valentine's Day song mix.
Very
Aw.
nice. Wait, what did you guys get each other for Valentine's Day?
I do want to know, yeah.
And I've heard this song before, but I just realized how much of a banger it really is. But Lover by Taylor Swift is an all-timer.
So
and we
good.
couldn't listen to the rest of the playlist. 'Cause
I
it
just kept playing it over and
going.
over. It reminds me of like a Levi's vintage black and white jean commercial.
Yes, yeah, I see it.
Mhm.
And like when I was a young man, every fantasy that I ever had when it was like a mute cute of like whatever lady who showed up in my life, it was always in the lens of a black and white vintage Levi jean commercial.
Hmm.
And so thank you, Taylor Swift, for channeling my nostalgia.
It's a good
It's a really
song.
good song. And shout out Charlie Swifties. I really enjoyed it.
Wait, so what else? Natalie, you made this playlist? What else was on it?
No.
No,
I
it's like a
searched on
Spotify
Spotify
playlist.
Valentine's Day
Got it.
playlist.
Got it.
Yeah, no, I don't have the time to make a playlist.
I did want to know more about your Valentine's Day. So what did you guys do? You went to brunch. Where was the brunch?
We went to our go-to spot, which is in Silver Lake called Marco Polo, and it's like attached to a hotel, and so it's never really that busy. But the outside is just
A vibe.
it's such a vibe. You feel like you're in south of France, maybe.
Oh, love
Greece.
that.
Greece.
It's giving Greece.
It's
with
giving
great,
Greece for sure, yeah.
with great food.
But yeah, really good food. And we pull up, drive all the way there, pull up, and their door's shut. I'm like, oh my God, what's going on? We go inside, and our server, who's always our server, is like, our power's out.
Oh, no.
I'm like, oh my God.
Not a
how
good
do
day
we-
for that.
How do we bring it?
Yeah, we're like, what can we do here? So then we go to All Time in Los Feliz.
Mm.
Have y'all ever been there?
Oh,
So
I
good.
know.
Very good.
Saw the guy who plays in Suits. Anyways, well, I saw him sitting outside with his daughter, and so we went and had brunch, and then Nick had some insane flowers delivered for me and River.
I
Nice.
saw that on
Got-
your stories. That was
I
really,
know.
really sweet.
The
River,
one
like
was cute.
loved it. It was so sweet.
Her first Valentine.
Well, second, but
Well-
I don't think you did anything for her last year, did you?
Nothing memorable.
I think I had to share my flowers with her.
You know.
Unfortunate.
All right, so we jump into some traders before we get to Nigel Barker and talk some America's Next Top Model.
I think I can stop watching here without my housewives. I was like, why am I watching the show without my girls?
Yeah.
Rob
Yeah.
Really is
really
taking a shift.
Rob is really the housewife slayer.
Rob is he's really feeling himself. He
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
He is. We're getting cocky, Rob, right now.
Mm.
He
Yeah.
is so cocky. It's too much. It's like how is Mora not seeing it? It's like
She sees it.
he might as well be wearing traitors on his forehead.
But
I
it's
mean,
like,
honestly, it's giving. They all know and don't care because they're just trying to be in the house of Rob.
Well, Mora did call it out too. She's kind of said that at the table. At the breakfast in the next morning, she was like, "Hey," and like it was kind of weird that she kept calling you out, and he was like, "Yeah, I think she just did that to like throw off the scent or whatever." And then, but I feel like Mora's kind of like seeing it.
She
I
did.
don't know. I felt like I was shocked that nobody was like, Rob, why did Candace put your name down twice?
Mhm.
Like nobody asked.
I think it's what's interesting to me is that like Rob is kind of positioned himself as a leader within the castle. And so what now psychologically, even if I don't know if he did it on purpose or not, they all look to him, and it must be terrifying to have the realization that the person you're looking to for guidance is the traitor. So they're all just pretending he's not because they can't
Mhm.
emotionally handle that.
The
right
fact
now.
that Kristen is on to Eric and is still just
Immediately.
like so not
Based off of nothing. She's so smart.
Based off of
no,
nothing.
this is exactly what I said was going to happen. I was like, I don't think Eric can not be in his head
Yeah.
after he becomes a traitor. He's going to start
changing his
questioning
behavior
everything.
in little
Yeah.
ways that are being noticed. It's
he's more quiet.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
was like he said, he was like, I'm so nervous to speak, so I'm just not going to say anything. And it's
Yeah.
like, well,
I don't know how he
before,
recovers
He probably
from
was
that.
participating. Maybe we didn't get to see it because the edit, but like
he was calling people out of the round table.
Yeah.
Remember, I heard Tiffany's laugh or whatever. That
Yeah.
He was always wrong about what he was seeing and
Yeah.
hearing, but he was saying things.
That should have been
was
his easy out with Kristen. Is be like, I've said too many wrong names. I just want to like change my gameplay
Yeah.
and like.
I honestly
but
don't
he's
know how he
freaking
recovers.
out.
I don't know how he recovers because if they send Kristen home, Mark was there. Do I think
Mhm.
Mark could be easily convinced of literally anything? Yes. But he was there and he could easily be like, Kristen warned us that if she was going to go home, it was Eric.
They're an easy
And I
spot
feel-
though.
you have Rob and a bunch of people minus maybe Kristen who are just happy to be there.
Oh my God. The whole Tara and Johnny
Johnny.
being like, you guys, we're best friends. I'm like,
They-
I forgot that they were
like-
even keeping that a secret. I was
Right? Like I was
Yeah.
like, is that a secret?
That
Do they
was-
not know?
Yes.
Obviously, like
so funny.
they didn't announce this clearly because, they did it at the round table, but like I think everyone knew.
It
you
was
know?
their strategy going in the whole time that they were going to pretend not
Well,
to be
They're
friends.
so
Which was like a
People
weird
noticed.
strategy.
So
No, they
real.
noticed that they were more touchy and close now, but they played it wrong because they could have
Yeah.
been like, we know that you would think we're suspicious by being close, but that's why we are close out loud,
Mhm.
But they didn't say that.
They're
They're so funny.
their
It's so
strategy is
mean.
all over the place.
One
It
of them
makes
are going
no
home next
sense.
week for sure because now they just sent one of the wrong traitors
They
home,
have
and they're
to. Like they're not going to kill Kristen. They're going to kill Tara or Johnny. Yeah,
Let
that's
these-
fine.
100%.
let these you know that meme that's like it's the two dumb bitches telling each other exactly
Exactly.
like that's them, and I'm like, yes, keep them there. I want them to win by being stupid and loving each other. Like that's all I want. Justice for Tara and
Actually,
Johnny.
Natalie might be killed or murdered. Like,
Oh
that
yeah,
could make
I
sense.
feel like she's really just. I feel like her name was thrown around at like the
Yeah.
second round table, and she's just scathed
Yeah,
by.
it'll be interesting because if you're Rob, I don't think there's a world where Tara and Johnny figured out it's Rob. They could get. I mean, and by figured out, I mean like confident. Like come in with we know here Rob's a traitor. Here's why, as opposed to just throwing out names. And if you're Rob, yeah, at this point, you just get rid of all the actual threats. Kristen, Natalie, I think those are the two probably strongest game players in the castle right now. And who else is left?
Not
Mark.
Mora,
Johnny,
Mora.
Tara.
Mark, Mora, Johnny, Tara.
Eric, and Rob.
Is that it?
No,
Well,
and
Eric's
it's-
now a traitor.
Mm-hmm.
Who else is
And
there?
Mora, Johnny, Tara, and
Kristen.
Who's the Dancing with the Stars guy?
Mark.
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 Right.
Yeah.
those four in particular, maybe we haven't seen it, but they haven't offered. They look risk averse. They look like they want to avoid conflict. They are just happy to be there. And I think Rob knows he has them wrapped around their fingers.
Mhm.
You might as well just keep all of them and get rid of Kristen and Natalie have proven throughout this game that they will speak up for themselves and they will, they're still actually hunting the traitors. And I don't think Mark and Maura and Johnny and Tara are really honestly that concerned about who the traitors are.
Yeah.
And so I would keep them and get rid of Natalie and Kristen as soon as possible.
I think Mark
agree
and
with
Kristen are gonna win.
No.
I feel it in my bones. Maybe Maura.
I
too.
think that they honestly need to get rid of Kristen because even again, I think
though.
that they could convince Mark of literally anything, and he's the only one who heard her warning about Eric.
But I think Mark and Kristen are playing the quiet game. Like I think they actually know.
I feel like Rob
are you
is
gonna speak
gonna.
up?
I feel like Rob's gonna lean in and be like, "We should take out Kristen," and then it's gonna fall back on Eric, and then Eric's gonna get eliminated,
Mhm.
and then Rob's again the only traitor.
It's Rob's game. It's just
Rob's
it
game.
just is at this point. Like there's literally nobody. Even I mean,
He's like, he's laughing around them.
yeah, it's ridiculous. He's getting cocky. You're right, Nick. It's like he literally knows that he's won this game, and he knows he could literally tell everyone that he's a traitor, and they would still keep him in the game. at
Also,
this
every
point.
single person is like, I trust you, Rob. Every
Yeah.
single person has like a one-on-one with him to discuss their strategy, being like, I trust you the most out of anybody. And I'm just like, I wish that you all just talk to each other and be like, who do you trust the most out of anybody?
You know what was weird? I actually was very confused by. Why did Natalie ask Rob to say that he had the dagger at the round table? First of all, she said it out loud. It's like, bitch.
Because I think she like wanted them to know that like she doesn't have it or that she's not like, I think that's her like trying to be like, I'm as faithful as possible. And they might think that I have it if you don't say something.
Remember, she had it originally.
Yeah, but nobody knew.
Nobody
Nobody
knew
knew
that. I'm
that.
saying I think it's part of that too, though. She wants like it's her play to have.
I think
people
it's
to
her
know.
like the one idea that came to her head that was like maybe if they know I don't have it, that they don't think I'm a traitor, that they would know I'm a faithful.
Well, there's a lot of talk online regarding the reunion of traitors,
Yes.
and apparently, I think at this point, substantiated rumors is that Lisa Rinna comes for Colton, and Candace comes for Rob. So much so that apparently Colton and Rob have unfollowed those subsequent ladies. Rob has unfollowed
Whoa.
Candace, and Colton has unfollowed Lisa. What do we think of that? Do we think, let's Colton aside, specifically with Rob, do we think this is Rob has maybe a little too much thin skin, and he should just kind of know what he signed up for when it comes to dealing with housewives and knowing that this is a reunion and things are going to get hot and steamy and accusations and criticisms will be thrown his way? Because like having met Rob and interviewed Rob, he is a gentle guy. He is definitely, it seems almost like an oxymoron because he's, a reality TV star, but he is someone who like has come onto these shows, specifically Love Island. Obviously it's a love competition show. There is like natural drama that comes with like opening up your feelings, but like that's different than say like a housewife who is like looking for the drama and things like that. So how do you guys see it? Is it inappropriate for them to bring the housewives energy into people who like aren't housewives? Or do you think Colton and Rob are a little thin-skinned?
Absolutely not. I'm like, listen, I think getting read to filth by a housewife, especially Candace Dillard of all of them, it's going to be tough. It's going to be rough. And I'm like, the thing is, Rob hasn't had a reunion like this. So it's like Love Island reunion, especially his season, was like, are you still going to be wearing the overalls? It's not like, why did you make me feel this way? Or why did you double cross me? And there's going to be name calling. There's going to be, like,
He's
Also,
still wearing that.
don't-
he's not prepared.
Sometimes you gotta, if you're gonna fuck around, you gotta find
I was
out.
gonna say, don't give if you can't take. But also, like, I think Andy said it a couple reunions ago where he was like, show is about cultural difference, where it's like you have the housewives coming from such a personal show.
Mhm.
And usually that's against the game players. But at this point now it's against Rob, who's playing like a game player, and also Colton, who's playing like a game player. So like you're gonna
Yeah.
just get that natural like pushback.
Also, to Lisa Rinna's point, I think she was on Watch What Happens Live, and it's like Colton, you asked to see the housewife in me. Like,
Mhm.
you
Mhm.
want to see it, so
Yeah.
I'm going to show it to you.
Exactly.
And, apparently a lot of Lisa's questions are centered around Colton in Traitors talking about holding a housewife hostage,
Oh yeah.
Right.
which it's like,
Can't be using
not getting into the weeds of Colton's history, but like some of those accusations against Colton, specifically the alleged harassment of using fake accounts to go after not only his current fiance at the time, but former castmate. that is a behavior that has never really been addressed that is potentially risky for your other castmates.
Right.
So it's, I think there's a lot of fans and a lot of people who learned about Colton's history, specifically his castmates, who I think do have a right to ask some of these questions, regardless of the fact that whether he wants to address it or not.
So they just filmed this. There's not like a release date yet?
No, not yet. I don't think.
I imagine it will be right after, within a week following the finale.
I mean, also for the Housewives fans that have seen Lisa Rinna at a reunion, like she goes for the jugular.
cooks.
So I can only imagine like she knows what she's saying and she doesn't hold back when you push back.
Well,
Yeah,
Well,
it's gonna be
think about it.
wackadoodle
And
time.
again, ever since Colton's been on the show, it has ignited past conversations about his time on The Bachelor. A lot of those conversations from people, again, a lot of people feel like it was never really addressed, and that when it was addressed, it was always wrapped up in some of his other, challenges that he's faced, and it almost comes across as a justification or an excuse. And Lisa's, ever since leaving the castle, has, I'm sure, seen these comments about a bunch of fans demanding answers. And I think Lisa took it upon herself to say, well, if you want answers, I'll go get them for y'all.
Yeah, nothing's off limits for
Uh-huh.
Lisa Rinna.
True.
Well, we were also binging Reality Check, the new America's Next Top Model documentary, which is a show I grew up on. It's a show that made me want to be a model as a young child. And it is crazy to rewatch it all back.
Yeah.
It's if you guys haven't watched it yet, even if you didn't grow up on it, everyone's seen the memes. I had seen episodes here or there, but I wasn't, let's say, a fan like my wife or some of y'all. But if you've ever watched any reality TV show ever, it really gets into the history and just the cultural differences that we have today versus when reality TV was made, and just how, even as someone who came up in the Bachelor franchise, back from 2014, it's just that conversation about the right or wrong versus a producer's role. And having conversations with cast and how much is, if any, crossing a line between encouraging people to, if nothing else, to not listen to whatever voices are telling them, I don't know if I should do this. I don't know. I might regret this. And if nothing else, a reality TV's producer's job is to quiet those voices in your head. In terms of wondering if maybe this is a good idea or not.
The way that they positioned certain things on one cycle, with Danielle and Joni, having their makeover be go to the dentist and get your teeth fixed.
Mhm.
Danny, we're going to close your gap. And she's like, no, I don't want my gap closed. I love it. And they're like, you're not going to get any jobs. You're going to be sent home. You've got to get that. So then she basically gets it closed a little bit. And then two cycles later, they're like, we're going to make your gap bigger. And it's what?
That's crazy.
Then there's Whitney, who they shamed for being plus size. And then the next cycle, they're like, we're going to make you gain weight. It's
No,
what?
it's as if she's on a football team, and they're you need to bulk up if you want to play offensive line.
You're too average. You need to pick a lane. It's this. It's watching it back. I remember, obviously, as a kid watching it, not thinking, I'm sure it gave me my own issues, but not thinking that some of these things were as big of a deal. And then to watch it back now and be like, oh my God, I remember these scenes.
Mhm.
Shandy cheating on her quote unquote, cheating on her boyfriend, and having to call him, and him calling her, his voice cracking and being like, you stupid bitch. I remember all of that, but learning that producers were there filming the entire thing and no one once stepped in being like, hey, maybe this should stop. Maybe this has gone too far.
Not
Everyone
only
just
filming,
sat by
but
and watched it.
pushing her into that
Yeah.
situation.
Yeah.
It's just
And then being when she's like, I want to go home, they're like, sorry, you can't. She wants to call her boyfriend. They're like, you can't. And then finally they're like, okay, you can call him, but we have to film it. It's just ugh. And then the conversation that Tyra had within the next day of talking about her boyfriend cheating, and it was just clear as day how sick I don't know.
It'll be interesting what people have to say about Tyra's, not necessarily, well, certainly her involvement in the show, but obviously coming up shortly, we do have Nigel Barker, who of a lot of the people, I mean, certainly was a judge, but like of the main characters, probably had the littlest influence of how things. How would you say it?
He definitely was like the kindest out of all of them, for sure.
But it'll be interesting to see what fans think of what Tyra had to say in this documentary and whether they feel like she is owning up to what she needs to own up to. I'm curious what many of you think. We'll dive into it a lot more on Wednesday, and we'll have more people from the documentary as well as this documentary unfolds and more people start talking about it. But up next, we do have Nigel Barker joining us. I will say he is someone who, I didn't watch a lot of America's Next Top Model. I always had a big man crush on him.
He is a handsome man.
I just girlfriends I would date would watch it always be on. And I mean, like, that is the coolest looking guy I've ever seen.
Best accent.
He's also very tall.
British accent. He's a photographer.
Mhm.
6'4".
This shaved head, but it looks like the perfect haircut for him, because he has a perfect face.
Mm-hmm.
So true.
Anyway, he joins us up next to talk about his experience on the show and what it felt like for him to watch it back. So many interpersonal relationships and so many thoughts and feelings I think many of this cast is having as we all live back some of these both iconic and kind of devastating moments of reality TV. And we get to hear it from Nigel himself. This episode is sponsored by BetterHelp. Listen, we know what it's like when it feels like everyone around us has everything figured out. But you know what they say? Comparison is a thief of joy. And the reality is no one has it figured out. Maybe they are just protecting their mental health a little bit better than you. If you've ever thought about jumping into therapy or maybe thought about getting back into it, take a look at BetterHelp. They are helping people alleviate some of the obstacles that they feel like they incur when looking into therapy. Sometimes it feels very difficult to find a therapist that's right for you. And sometimes people just don't feel like they have the time. Well, BetterHelp helps alleviate all those pain points. It's more affordable than inpatient therapy. They're working with over 30,000 therapists to help ensure that you can find a therapist that's perfect for you. And you can switch therapists for free every single time until you land on someone that you really connect with. And then it's incredibly convenient. All you need is a tablet, a phone, a device, and everyone has one of those, and you can talk to your therapist wherever and whenever you need. Maybe it's in your car, maybe it's on a lunch break. Maybe it's right when you wake up. Doesn't really matter. BetterHelp is here to help you control what you can control and help protect your mental health. Sign up and get 10% off at betterhelp.com/VIALL. That is BetterHelp, HELP.com/VIALL. It's officially the month of love, and we know you want to celebrate the one you love the most, your dog. Celebrate the one you love the most by giving them the best, highest quality ingredients with Ollie. Yes, it's kind of meal that dogs actually get excited about. It's real fresh food that they'll love and devour, which is the best way to show them love every day. Because if you're giving them everything, the least you can do is make dinner really, really good. But what's even better than that is that it's good for them. Human-grade recipes backed by vet nutritionists and crafted with culinary experts. Dogs love the taste. Even the pickiest eaters will show more excitement during meal time. They have tailored meal plans to meet your dog's specific needs. Specific portion meals and mess-free packaging comes with a scoop for every serving in a storage pup container for zero fridge stink. The Ollie app offers on-demand health screening where you can tap real experts for pup peace of mind. Use the data from the Ollie Pack to develop new recipes and products for your dog. Jeff and Steve love the beef and sweet potatoes. It's packed with protein, vitamins, and minerals. Celebrate your number one Valentine, your greatest love, your dog. Head to ollie.com/VIALL and tell them all about your dog and use code VIALL to get 60% off your welcome kit when you subscribe today. Plus, they offer a happiness guarantee on the first box, so if you're not completely satisfied, you'll get your money back. That's OLLIE.com/VIALL and enter code VIALL to get 60% off your first box. Nigel, welcome to the show. Good to see you again.
It's a pleasure. Good to see you too.
I had the pleasure of doing Nigel's podcast a couple years ago, and it was a big moment for me. I don't know if you remember, Nigel, but I told you that I had such a man crush on you as a kid. It was like when I was a young man, I was like, that's the type of guy, I want to grow up and act and look like. So it was, it's still cool to have a chance to talk with you because you were definitely someone who I was a bit of a role model for me.
You're very sweet, but that all that does is really make me feel incredibly old.
Nigel, I really appreciate you taking the time, and this has been a really incredible documentary. Have you had a chance to watch it yet?
I have indeed. I've seen all 3 episodes.
Really curious what fans and the audience are going to think. To me, it really is not just about America's Next Top Model, but really just about television and our culture and reality TV specifically. It's just like how different things were back then and kind of what we've learned from our past mistakes, both from a cultural standpoint and just from a TV making standpoint. But I'm curious from you watching it back, someone who was obviously front and center, very much involved in the show. How did it feel watching it back, and what were some of the biggest surprises for you?
I mean, first of all, it was obviously incredibly nostalgic for me to watch it, and my personal memories of the show are very positive.
Yeah.
I had a great time on the show. I loved it. It was really, wonderful for me to be able to take my family with me, all of that kind of piece of it. So, but I was also, as one always is, you're acutely aware of what's happening around you to some extent. And contestants who had bad times, hard times, difficult times, that's sort of, at the same time, it's somewhat par for the course for all reality television and shows of that ilk. I didn't know the ins and outs of what was happening to individual cast members, because we were very much kept apart from all of that.
Mm-hmm.
They very much wanted the judges to be impartial. So I had no idea what happened outside of the photo shoots and outside of the judging room.
Yeah.
Ever. That obviously is not the case for Tyra and the producers, Ken and what have you, on the show. So I guess one of the biggest eye-opening pieces of it were that, I was watching the documentary and I was thinking to myself, wow, that actually happened. Because all I saw was what everyone else in the real world saw,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
which was on TV. I watched it for the first time alongside everybody else when they watched it on TV. And I oftentimes didn't know any more about it than that. And I kind of almost carefully maintained that. I was never one to sort of hang around after sort of the judging was filmed or after a photo shoot to sort of gossip about what was going on behind the scenes. I always felt that it was, not my place and not my sort of moment to do that. And I would kind of move and leave straight after filming, almost deliberately. I think one of the big sort of eye-openers too was listening to Jay, Jay Manuel, who, I've known now for 25 plus years. And I really didn't realize how much he was going through it on the show, to be fair. And I felt bad for him. Immediately after I watched it, I called him and I said, God, Jay, I really wish I had known more about what you personally were going through on the show. And it's funny because I knew certain things, like I knew when he wanted to leave the show, for example, and then I knew that he couldn't, but I never knew why he couldn't. And he was very private, and he was largely because he was trying to sort of protect certain people on the show and stuff like that. So I think that all that kind of thing was was very interesting for me and an eye opener.
Yeah, I'm curious, and something I've learned being a part of reality TV on both sides of it. Whether you're a judge or like a host of a show, there's often a misconception with the audience that you have a lot more insight, power, and control than you actually do. Obviously, it's interesting to hear your perspective watching it back, but over the years, for better or for worse, did you have to kind of explain to fans who would maybe wrongfully assume that like you had more control or more decision-making when it came to how things were put together on this show?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's sort of been part of the course. I mean, I think for me specifically, having been the photographer on the show and obviously a judge, I would always get questioned over, to say, the choice of the photographs that were being used for the girls, right? Was it really her best picture? Was it, didn't she? And I've said this before publicly, but in my opinion, sometimes it wasn't the best picture. However, that comes with the caveat that as a professional photographer, even when I shoot for a leading magazine, I don't get to say which are the pictures that are being used. I just shot, a cover of a magazine just last week, and I absolutely think a different picture should have been used for the cover, like a completely different picture. But did I get to have I got to have that picture made, and they're going to use it somewhere, but they're not using it on the cover. They had very different ideas as to what they wanted. They liked the story they were trying to tell and what that was all about. And, and that is the real world. And so now looking back at it from a reality television standpoint, in many ways, you're like, well, she should have been the best picture. And the thing is, it's an aesthetic and it's a personal opinion. And the best pictures were picked by Tyra, and that's how that worked. So every photographer that worked on the show best shot was picked by Tyra. Once in a while, we got a say in it, and we were allowed to sort of potentially tag our favorite shots. And that's normal, by the way. That's normal photography behavior, as in a photographer would tag their favorite shots, say their top 10, 15, 20, whatever, do a first edit, and then you hand over your pictures. But I see, this is the behind the scenes piece where the audience out there just thinks, well, goodness, you clearly had it out for her,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And there were times where I'd even say, like, there was a better shot.
I know there was a better shot.
Yeah.
Tyra kind of opens up, I think, in the first episode about 2020 and how that, everyone was at home and kind of rewatched America's Next Top Model. And that's kind of where, TikTok was booming, the criticism all kind of started coming out. Did you feel that as well in 2020?
I mean, my personal character on the show is myself.
Yeah.
So what I mean by that is that I've never been a sort of cruel person. I'm not really sort of a bitchy type of person. It's just not me. And I wasn't portrayed that way on the show either. Luckily for me, to some extent, I've always tried to be a sort of voice of reason and constructive with my criticism. And so, I think that just from the nature of who I am on the show too, most of the sort of criticism out there was not sort of aimed at me specifically.
Right.
Yeah.
Although I knew it was very popular during the pandemic and what have you, and what I got was a lot of photographers actually sort of saying, I picked up a camera for the first time because I watched you on the show.
Oh, wow.
And a lot of models saying, like, I started modeling, I wanted to be a model, and because of that show, and and can I be photographed by you, and I would love to do one of your photo shoots, and those sorts of things. I didn't, but I was aware clearly of the backlash as far as some of the things that were done and said that clearly wouldn't fly today, and sometimes, to be honest, even then at the time, I remember thinking to myself, wow, did someone just say that? Is that really, that's not really okay, guys. But you're in a room full of people who are sort of like just looking at you and acting like it's all okay. And so you sort of think to yourself, well, there's enough adults in the room here and sort of executives from networks and what have you, and psychiatrists and psychologists. And, we had all the things, on that show.
Wow.
That you're like, well, okay, well, it must be okay. Or it must be fine. Or perhaps I'll edit it out anyway. Or, until you actually finally see it, and I think that when you are judging people, certainly on a beauty fashion show, and I've done a lot of these, right? I was host of The Face with Naomi Campbell for 2 years, and I've judged Miss America, Miss Universe, Miss World, Miss USA. I've done just, 24 variations of America's Next Top Model all over the world, from Britain's Top Model to Australia's Next Top Model to Russia's, you name it, Finland's, on and on and on, to America's Top Model for 18 seasons. There are certain things that people say and do that when it's very personal, someone's look and feel. And when you say something about someone, I've always tried to be sensitive to the fact that they're a human being. And I think that sometimes does get lost when people, they switch off, and that sort of, in the fashion world, I remember as a model myself back in the day, people would say things to you like, you're too tall, your arms are too long, you haven't got a big enough chest, you're not dark enough. Where are you from? You don't really look, and I'm part Sri Lankan, for example, and then say, well, you don't look Asian, and you look Hispanic, and just wild statements that would get thrown at you, that you're sort of, as a young kid, you're like trying to process it, like, oh, I am part Asian, but I don't look Asian. What do I do about that? Oh, there's nothing I can do about that. I'm too tall. I can't shrink. I don't know what to say. I'm not big enough, or maybe I should work out more, But the industry as a whole has a lot of flaws, and so dealing with this industry is a tough one, certainly publicly.
Yeah. Well, to that end, I'm curious, how much actual impact do you think this show has or had on the modeling industry as a whole, looking within and saying, maybe it's kind of fucked up or messed up that we operate things this way? Or do you think it didn't?
No, I think it had a huge influence, actually. I mean, and even if you listen to the models in the documentary too, and on the show and after the fact, full figured, plus size, all these sort of expressions for someone, who's not a sort of a size 0. These, models of that ilk, if you like, they exist now, and there are agencies based around them, and there are divisions within the biggest agencies that have, full figured models, and there are superstar full figured models. Ashley Graham, for example, and women of all sort of colors and diversity are sort of celebrated in a different way. But rather back then when we were sort of doing the show, that was not the case. It was, really like sort of for us to have sort of Whitney on the show, who really wasn't really even a sort of a full figured model. She was sort of, and this was half the problem, is that back then, when they sort of talked about someone being full figured or whatever, it was like, it was still cookie cutter. And as in, you were either sort of super skinny, sort of size 0 to size, say, 4 on the biggest, or if you were to be full figured, that was really plus size, and they wanted you to be size sort of 12 upwards. And so anyone in between was sort of in between. Now it's a lot more kind of, there are sort of variations within that, and you can sort of, and athletic models and sort of muscular models, if you want, even female muscular models, to the definitions have changed and the look has changed, but you still see runway shows with major designers today who have very much cookie cutter looking models, all white, no color, no shape, and so as much as changes have been made, and many of them for the first time on a show, publicly at least, on a show like America's Next Top Model, the influence, wanes. It comes and goes.
Yeah.
There's no doubt that there was a lot of influence made by Top Model, but I think at the same time, it's up to every designer and every person out there to keep demanding it and keep making it happen.
I also feel like, and correct me if I'm wrong, but that was kind of the show's reasoning for maybe some of the negative traits. It was kind of like, well, this is just how the industry is. Like, this is how you will be treated outside of this show, kind of thing. Like, they're not going to accept you. They're not going to hire you. You won't get
like
paid
a modeling
for this.
boot camp.
Yeah,
almost.
yeah. And that was kind of their...
You're right. You're right. I mean, we say it oftentimes on the show, and I've written about it certainly as well, that what we were trying to help people sort of see and do is hear what would be said about them after they left the room. If you were to do an audition or a casting, and the casting director was just to say, thank you very much, goodbye, and you don't get the job, and you don't know why, it's hard to improve. So what we were, the idea behind it, whether it worked or not, and quite frankly, it got, went too far in many a situation where we were trying to parlay to the girls, but also to the audience at large. These are the kinds of things that people would be then saying about you when you left the room.
Yeah.
And if you're able to look at it from 30,000 feet, perhaps you can pick out the pieces that would help you either change or improve or get better at that, or, know what was wrong or know what's needed. That being said, because it's a reality TV show, it goes to extremes and it gets exaggerated and it gets over the top, and people play into it and they ham it up, and then feelings get hurt. And I think that's, what happened. But, at the same time, oftentimes feelings were getting hurt, but people also found it funny. And so when people find things funny and sort of humorous, despite someone's, being criticized, it kind of almost gets encouraged.
Yeah.
And I think that's part of the issue.
I'm curious, Nigel, kind of going back to that cookie cutter conversation we were having, why do you feel like the industry operates that way? Ultimately, the modeling industry is for the consumer, you would think, right? You're selling clothes, you're selling photographs and things like that. And you mentioned the 0 to 4, then like maybe 10 to 12 range. And you mentioned like everyone in the middle is kind of forgotten, but I would think that like the majority of the consumer out there is the everyone in the middle. And it's just like, why, when you go to runway shows, do you see people who like, beautiful, fascinating, very unique looks, but like not often relatable?
And I think there's a combination of things. I think one is basic advertising rules, as in you go to a hotel website, they show you the best room on the front of the website. They show you the nicest part of the hotel. You want to buy a car, they show you the top of the range car with all the trimmings, and that's what brings you in. It's like no one ever shows you the average or what's sort of in the middle. They always sort of show you the best of what they've got to reel you in. And then you end up getting the sort of the smallest room in the hotel, but you're in that hotel.
Yeah.
It's a sort of a similar sort of situation with fashion and beauty and modeling. People are, potentially aspire to look younger because youth apparently is better. When luckily some of these things are changing. I mean, you are seeing older models now, and some of the supermodels who are still modeling in their 50s, 60s, 70s now, and looking wonderful. But that being said, there's also incredible amount of retouching happening, and AI happening, and everything else happening. But there is also a practical piece of this. Something which is overlooked over and over again, which is fashion designers can't sort of fiscally or financially afford to make sizes in every size just for press. And, there's a sort of a standard size that they make everything in for their samples. And that's what goes down the runway. That's what then gets photographed for photo shoots. And unless they go out of their way and say, we are going to make this in this specific size for these models, to do a range of sizes, which some designers do, and it's not nobody, but the average, people out there don't have the budget to do that, and that cookie cutter size that is meant to be a sort of one size fits all is basically anywhere from a size 2 to a size 4. It's a height of 5'9", and it's a size 9 shoe for a woman, right? So if you fit that, you are like cookie cutter average, and then it depends on how pretty you are and all the rest of it. There are obviously always people who are taller to us. I'm 6'4". I was always a giant as a male model, funnily enough, 6'4". I used to pretend that I was 6'2". My agents would write on my card 6'2". If I said I was 6'4", I would never have anything to wear. Right. My wife was also a model. She's a size 0, but she's very slim. She always has been. It's just genetically the way she is. She oftentimes didn't fit the clothes. They would pin them and make them tight on her so it actually looked like it fit her. And she suffered from the fact that they were opposite, that clothes were always too big for her. But because they only really make them in this specific size. Now, again, these are the things, when you tell people this in the real world, they kind of scratch their head and they get confused and they don't necessarily understand. But it's literally down to the fact that to create a collection of clothing can cost hundreds of thousands of dollars. So then to make multiple sizes with the hope that you're going to find people, they just sort of, and the agencies know that. So they go out looking for models who are 5'9", size 2 to 4, size 9 foot. And if you fit all those things, that's what the average sort of commercial model is.
Nigel, you mentioned that at times in reflection, you feel like your time on America's Next Top Model negatively impacted your career as a photographer. Can you speak on that a little bit more?
Yeah, no, it's funny. It hasn't, right? So obviously there are certain things that, you have to parlay your success in however it is into future successes and other opportunities. And certainly no one please feel sorry for me, because I've had an incredibly lucky and successful career throughout my career. However, when you work in the fashion industry, again, this industry that is has been and was and is incredibly sort of exclusive, and much of the fashion industry is still held behind sort of velvet ropes. They don't look kindly upon primetime television, with big commercial sponsors of the likes that we had, that were considered to be sort of too commercial and almost, not serious enough. Fashion is sort of often considered a serious business. And we would make fun of it sometimes. We would do silly, fun things, crazy things. We would, most of our fashion shoots and stories were based on real shoots that had happened, even in high fashion magazines. But we took them to a sort of another level and then would add an element of comedy to it because we were making television.
Yeah.
So the fashion industry frowned upon that, didn't like us making fun of it, or also suggesting that we could find a beauty, say, working at a Dwayne Reed or a Walgreens in the middle of Arkansas, when we were like, actually, no, there are diamonds in the rough everywhere. And they didn't like that. They didn't want us telling them what beauty was, or whether we found someone attractive or not. And Tyra and myself and everyone there were really actively interested in trying to sort of help people discover different types of looks and beauties. And, and I think just the industry itself didn't like that. So yeah, there were definitely magazines and what have you that didn't look friendly upon myself. and sort of stopped working with me at one point. But then there were other people that then started to work with me, right? So it was just, whereas my career was on a sort of trajectory of kind of getting bigger and more exclusive and high-end, jobs with really well-known magazines, that piece kind of wavered.
Yeah.
And then all the sort of big corporate, commercial jobs came along, and things were different. I mean, you only have to look at, think about who our judges and our magazines and our magazine sponsors were on the show. What is it? It took until cycle 12 until American Vogue got involved with Top Model. Why was Vogue so late to the party? In large reason, if you looked at the numbers of their subscription, we were reaching an audience of 100 million people. Meanwhile, no one was buying magazines anymore.
Mhm.
Yeah.
They kind of needed us. They needed us to make them relevant. That was the irony, is that Vogue, we were more in vogue than Vogue was at the time. Andre Leontali, editor-at-large of American Vogue, came on. Italian Vogue became our magazine sponsor. But this was when our ratings were dipping, right? They didn't come on and our ratings went up. They came on when our ratings were going down. They came on and our ratings still went down. It didn't make any difference because young people didn't really care about what was in Vogue or not.
Sure.
It was that's when the era of social media was on the rise, and people were looking elsewhere for their fashion advice, and influencers were a new thing, and all of this it was a big change, and in large part reality television was a sort of precursor to social media. It was that sort of a nod to the behind the scenes and the brutal truth and the honesty part of it, and things you don't hear normally said, and versus the sort of super polished, well produced end result of what you see in a magazine.
You talking about like the kind of corporate world looking at the reality television of it all and struggling with some of the jobs. Do you feel like that also happened to maybe some of the winners, where it was like, oh, you're going to have this illustrious modeling career, and then they try and it's like, oh, well, you've just been on this show. You haven't actually modeled.
Yeah, no, without a doubt.
Yeah.
It's funny you should say that too, because, something that not everyone knows, I know I've talked about it before, but I happened to get my own modeling sort of career launched from a reality television show in 1989 in the UK called The Clothes Show. It was one of the very first model searches on TV ever. And I didn't win. The winner went on to have one great year of sort of modeling, and then dropped out and became a police officer. Myself and several other people who were on that show ended up having successful careers in fashion in general. I, modeled for a while and then moved on to become a photographer and what have you. And several others went on to do other similar things. But even on Top Model, you notice that our winners often don't do as well as the sort of runners up.
Yeah.
And the people who are in the sort of, who just made it there. And I think too, you can lead a horse to water. You can't always make him drink. And by winning, sometimes it would almost be a sort of a mark on you versus it being something brilliant. It was a sort of a first step, and it relied heavily on the individual then knowing how to market themselves. And some of our contestants, whether they won or not, were just brilliant at doing that and knew what they wanted and used it as a stepping stone. And others, I think, either rested on their laurels or hoped that there would be more support when there wasn't any, and it was a harsh reality. And, and I think, even when I look at my own career, that's where it was sort of a situation where I'm like, okay, so Vogue isn't going to necessarily hire me now. Although I did end up working for them once Andre Leontali came on the show. But it was more, a question of like, well, so where is my audience and who will book me? And, you do then find what that is. And at least I did, and then figured all these different pieces of it out. But it perhaps wasn't what I was expecting. But it was the risk I took. I remember when I first was offered Top Model, I did think about it. I was thinking, this is a risk. But I knew what other way was there for me to become, say, a household name outside of some opportunity like this, where I was going to be, in everyone's living room once a week, not just in America, but all over the world, being able to show them what I do. And I think that was an incredible opportunity. And so, I was lucky enough to sort of parlay that.
Yeah. What's your relationship with Tyra Banks today?
I mean, Tyra and I are still friendly. I don't speak to her often. I normally speak to her sort of once or twice a year.
Sure.
And things come up and something happens and we're at an event or something like that where we bump into one another. And, it's always been very cordial. She's not someone who likes, funnily enough, to have like arguments or even be sort of, I don't know, have an aggressive aggro situation. And that's why I sometimes on the show, when you see those moments when she explodes or does something, it's not really her nature to be like that publicly, actually, or with people. She sort of doesn't like that kind of confrontation, as for what I've experienced. And yeah, there were some hairy times. And when I left the show and stuff, I was definitely hurt at the time. I mean, I thought it was, not handled well by the show. And we were, the judges were released in the way we were. But at the same time, I'm a big boy and life goes on, and you go, okay, it's business. And you kind of, you roll up your sleeves and you go, okay, well, perhaps I was a bit soft there. I just should have realized that, that I was replaceable, perhaps more so than I thought I was.
Who have you remained closest with? J. Manuel?
J. Manuel, J. Alexander, Tyra, Paulina Poroskova, Kelly Catrone. I mean, there's a lot of different, people on the show who pretty much everyone on the show to some extent, I've remained close with, but, certainly the Jays, I see them regularly. And Kelly Catrone. I mean, we all live in New York. We all still work in fashion, and have done collaborations and have done other things together since then.
In terms of facing scrutiny, I imagine Tyra is probably under the biggest microscope in terms of people having an issue. Obviously, she was an executive producer. She had a lot more responsibility in decision making. How do you feel like the audience watching this documentary will respond to how Tyra characterized her involvement?
I mean, I think they're going to be, hopefully sympathetic to her, as but I think but also I think just Tyra, her involvement in the show. She was executive producer. It was her show, and she was very, very involved.
Yeah,
and executive producer can mean not much sometimes. It can just mean, you thought of the idea, you put your name on it, and some executive producers do very little. They sort of sit on the sidelines, even if they're a big star. But, Tyra touched every part of that show. Everything we did, every episode, she knew exactly what was happening, what was going on. And we was to some extent micromanaged a lot of what was happening. She didn't necessarily know what was going on as filming was happening. She wasn't there in the room, and, she was being reported to. But, she held very close reins on what was happening, and didn't really give up ownership like that. She really felt like, because she really wanted to make a difference. And that's how it felt to me, at least, when I would, look at her, watch her. When you see someone who's really vested in something and cares about every move that's being made, and it's there, and they created the show, and their name is on it, and they're the front person, and there's a lot riding on it. For me, I sort of, that made me even more sort of step back and go, okay, no, this is your show. I get it. And I'll do my best to support and do my role and fit in and do my best work. And it'd be interesting to see, I think there'll still be people who will probably say, oh, so-and-so deserves an apology. This person deserves an apology. That person. But there's also a lot of people who really loved being on the show. It's not, and I think most people, when you look at the audience, look back at Top Model as one of the most fun shows they ever watched. One of the greatest times they ever had, watching it. The sort of negative naysayers clearly are there, and rightly so, for a lot of the bad things that were said and done. But there's thousands and thousands of people who absolutely adored and loved it. And, if you look at recently in the past sort of 10 days, I personally have been posting photo shoots and stories from Top Model as a lead up to the release of the show. And every post that I've done has been a collaborative post with various models from each shoot. And they themselves are happy to collaborate with me and to remember the shoot and to share it with all their fans and say nice things.
Yeah.
So, it has, far from being like, no, I don't want to collaborate with you. No, I don't want to have anything to do with you. It's been the opposite. It's like they're all reaching out. And there are many contestants who are on the show who I remain good friends with to this day.
Wow.
That's awesome. Nigel, this has been a really fun conversation, and really appreciate your insight into everything this documentary covers and America's Next Top Model in general. Before we let you go, we just have a couple of fashion fun questions for you.
A little rapid fire. You've been in fashion for so long. You, I feel like, are just a wealth of knowledge. So we thought we'd get your opinion on some things in fashion, whether they should go, come back, whatever it is.
Let's do it.
Okay. If you had to bring back skinny belt or skinny scarf?
Oh, skinny belt.
Yeah, I agree. Worst fashion crime in your opinion?
I'm not about crimes. I'm about whether you rock the crime or not.
Okay.
So I see a lot of people. I don't, some people don't like certain things. I don't. All I like is it's the attitude. If you can't pull it off, then don't do it. So don't half-ass it. That's the crime for me.
Commit to the bit.
It's like not owning whatever the decision is that you decided to make.
Yeah.
Like if you're going to wear cargo shorts and a vest and have a strut.
Yeah. Or if you're going to do like this, there's something about Mary hair. Well, own it.
Yeah. Okay.
Own it. Thoughts on cargo shorts for men?
I'm not a fan. Sorry.
White after Labor Day.
I think that's fine. I
Me
really think that's one of the
too.
most ridiculous things ever.
Agreed. Logo heavy or logo free?
I'm personally logo free.
Love. Is clean girl aesthetic really just creativity on mute? That's what the internet's saying.
Yeah, I probably, but I don't think so. I think it's boring, to be honest.
Okay. Best dressed celebrity right now.
Ooh, that's a good one. I mean, I think from the men's perspective, I've sort of loved the way sort of Pedro Pascal has presented himself.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think he's it's very, very loose and sexy and cool and, but smart and it looks comfortable. I like everything about him, his hair, the whole thing that he does,
He does it.
so
Same.
he's kind of like, for me, an epitome of sort of getting it right.
Yeah.
Men in flip flops.
It depends. There's a lot of there's a lot of big photographers as well who wear them all the time. If you've got good feet, sure. If not, no.
If you're getting pedicures on the regular, yes. All right, last one. What fashion trend should make a comeback soon, and which fashion trend should not come back?
Oh, okay. Which fashion trends should come back? Well, there's a when I think back, on my own career, there was the whole sort of heroin chic. It was given the role, in my opinion, was like there was a lot of negative about it for the reason of the name that it was, how it was called. But what I loved about the sort of androgynous part of it was that it kind of opened up the doors for all kinds of types of people. And I would love to see a little bit more of that androgyny come through again as a sort of a movement, versus the sort of very obvious on the nose, I'm a boy, I'm a girl. And I think we've just sort of gone away from that. I love the sort of the shades of gray, if you like, of sexuality. I think in general, I think that plays, it's a beautiful thing to see. And what should go away? I don't think anything should go away.
Okay.
Bring it on.
Bring it on. Love it.
Nigel, this has been a lot of fun and a real privilege to have a conversation with you about this show. I really appreciate you taking the time. Where can people find you? Anything you want to promote or plug or put out there?
Well, if you're going to watch our show, perhaps you should shake up one of our Barker Company espresso martinis.
Yeah.
So I recently launched after my podcast, The Shaken and Stirred Show, which you appeared on. I launched my own espresso martini company called the Barker Company, and you should be shaking one of these up whilst watching America's Next Top Model to really get the full experience.
Hell yeah.
I promise you, it'll wake you up, and you'll really be on your toes as you watch the show.
And where can people find that?
So if you go to barkermartinis.com, but also you can find it in most good stores and what have you. So it's available in almost, good liquor stores and Total Wine and so on and so forth.
All right.
Amazing.
Nigel, really appreciate it, man.
Thank you.
Appreciate
Nigel.
you. Thanks
All
so
right.
much, guys.
All right. Take
Bye.
care. Bye-bye.
Take care.
A well-built wardrobe is about pieces that work together and hold up over time. And that's what Quince does best. Premium materials, thoughtful design, and everyday staples that feel easy to wear and easy to rely on, even as the weather shifts. Well, we've talked about Quince for some time now because we're obsessed. We love them. They are absolutely our go-to for all your staples. We've raved over and over about the Mongolian cashmere sweater, and until everyone has one in their wardrobe, we won't give up on letting you know how amazing it is. For the men, the ladies out there, it's incredible quality. It's breathable. Even for like those kind of cool summer nights or perfect even in the winter to stay warm. Very flexible. Again, Quince also has amazing luggage, amazing coats, and again, your staples, some wonderful unique pieces. If you want to upgrade your wardrobe today for either for you, your family, the men in your lives, look no further than Quince. You will be glad that you did. Now, I recently got this organic Turkish waffle robe from Quince, and I often use it in the middle of the night when I wake up and go check on River. Sometimes she wakes up, sometimes she needs to be rocked back to bed, and that new Quince robe has really been saving my life in the middle of the night. Refresh your wardrobe with Quince. Go to quince.com/VIALL for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. Now available in Canada, too. That's Quince, QUINCE.com/VIALL for free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/VIALL. You know the little rush you get when you score a big deal. It's a thrill. But now you can get upgrade not just because you're saving money, but because you can get cash back on stuff you were already buying. As soon as you start using Rakuten, you'll watch the cash stack up. Feels like a tiny win every time you check out. Same stores, same cart, just smarter. So listen, like if you like to shop like us, and you're going to buy it anyways, you might as well score a little extra cash on the side with Rakuten. Rakuten is the most rewarding way to shop because you can stack cash back on top of sales and deals at your favorite stores like Sephora, Target, and Instacart. All places we shop at and all places we are earning money back. So it's easy to use. And you get your cash back sent to you through PayPal or a check, just a real check, just mailing you money. The idea is simple. Stores pay Rakuten for sending them shoppers, and Rakuten shares the money with you as cash back. Think fashion, beauty, electronics, home essentials, travel, dining, and so much more. It's amazing how many partners Rakuten has. Something for everybody. Men, ladies, the kids, everyone will be earning cash back just by using Rakuten. Sign up is absolutely free and just takes seconds. 17 million Rakuten members are already saving and earning. In fact, members have earned over 4.6 billion with a B in cash back. Now it's your turn to start. Start stacking sales on top of cash and feel what it's like to know you're maxing your savings. Download the free Rakuten app or go to Rakuten.com to start saving today. That's RAKUTEN, Rakuten.com.
True story, for years, the USA medical team had to bring their own scrubs to the Olympics. But when they head to Milan for this year's Winter Games, Team USA will once again be wearing the official medical uniform designed by Figs. And now everyone else can wear them too. This collection from Figs introduces their most durable fabric yet, Fiber X. It's lightweight and breathable with moisture-wicking, anti-static, and antimicrobial properties that transition seamlessly from hospital corridors to city streets to the great outdoors. We're talking high-performance functionality and style worthy of the podium, but equally good in the exam room. New and best-selling styles are available in red, white, and blue. Check out the limited edition Team USA collection and get 15% off your first order at wearfigs.com with code FIGSRX. That's wearfigs.com, code FIGSRX.
Well, really appreciate Nigel taking the time. I thought he was very thoughtful and very reflective of his experience. I'm sure it must be difficult for him to watch. There was a moment, I think in episode 2 or 3, was it, where they showed him a scene that he was involved in. He kind of had that kind of cringed, it's like, but like, I'm sure so many of these are just like a distant memory. And I think, again, like I think it's very easy to look back and critique, certainly. And I think a lot of accountability certainly needs to be done. But this is one of those things where I am curious for more you guys, like what is your degree of, I mean, it was a different time. You know, we kind of all spoke like this in a way. We were less empathetic of people who were different than us. And we said things, told jokes that we are just not doing in 2026. So I'm kind of curious from you guys who, especially who haven't like seen reality TV being made and kind of just consuming it as fans. What is your perspective on the difference in the times?
I mean, I grew up with very toxic reality TV, and I've been a reality TV junkie from the start. But it was like we had shows like. I was like, unfortunately, during that time, America's Next Top Model wasn't the most toxic of the bunch.
Yeah.
We had a show
Biggest
called
Loser.
The Swan, where they
Biggest
literally
Loser.
did plastic surgery and a person couldn't look in the mirror for 3 months until they were presented to the world after getting like 20 surgeries.
Yeah.
You had I Want a Famous Face, where people would take in a celebrity's photo to like try to look
Yeah.
as much like a celebrity as possible. And like we were told that was normal.
There was also that show where like it was before someone's wedding or whatever, and they would just try to get them to lose as much weight as possible, like
Yeah.
a boot camp where they were like
Loser.
eating ice.
Yeah.
mean-
Biggest Loser, America's Top Model, for Mary and I, we were so young watching those that like
Yeah,
I know that it affected the way that I view food or like my body or
for
like
sure.
it taught us a lot about the media, which I think that had a pro there. But at the same time, like did it in a negative way.
But I'm also kind of like where I'm like, I'm not trying to defend it by any means, but I was like, the modeling industry back then and entertainment industry in general was extremely toxic. People would look you in the face at 110 pounds and be like, you need to lose 10 more pounds if you want to work.
Yeah.
And it's just like where I'm just like, nowadays we're like, oh my God, I couldn't even fathom, couldn't wrap my head around it. But unfortunately, like that was
reality.
the industry that I was like, that she in her mind, where I'm like, she looks like the villain now, but I'm like, in her mind, she thinks she's changing the modeling industry and opening it up for people that don't just look like a cookie cutter, you know, typical
That's
runway
what
model.
I'm
It was
teaching
the
us.
acting industry too. I was told by an agent one time, I'll sign you, but if you can lose X amount of weight. And then we were like leaving. He's like, I'd offer to get you ice cream right now, but like,
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like,
How old were you?
17 or 18.
No, I was 15, 16, living in New York, and I was considered plus size, and I was size 4 maybe, and I would go into all these castings and stuff, and they'd be like, you're too big for us, and I am 16 years old being like, I'm 100 and like
Yeah.
18 pounds. What do you mean?
5'9".
Well, I mean, I think
That's crazy.
I don't know. I think the importance of this documentary is just like, it was reality TV. And I think reality TV now is a little bit more structured and a little bit more like elevated, constructed reality. But when you have something like America's Next Top Model, obviously it's a competition show, but the reality of that show is the way you perceived these women. So it's like, I think it's important to like look at that and see that and clock it, because it's honestly, yeah, it's different now. It's quieter. Like, it's the same. Women still are like, and people in the modeling industry, like bodies and weight are still discussed in such a toxic way that's just a little bit different. So I think having these conversations because of a documentary like this is like very important. And I think it just like brings it to light of just being like, all right.
I think the difference between then and now is that like they didn't have a formula for reality TV, right? So it's like in their minds they think they're making a documentary that, like, whether it's being broken up in episodes, but we're showing you exactly how it is. No storylines, no whatever. I thought it was really interesting in the documentary when they said that all the regulations started to change after the Super Bowl with Janet Jackson and Justin Timberlake, that it was like, now we have to be more careful about what we're showing, which I think is when we started getting into like more Kardashians and more like storyline driven reality TV shows versus just like
Ensemble versus
like an off the cuff.
competition.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, the following it like a documentary was definitely, I think, a bit of an excuse to get away with some things. I think probably deep down, you know, they were creating a documentary in real time. I mean, a documentary is like something happens and we go back and explore, like this show. There's a documentary about America's Next Top Model. They were just like, we're going to follow these people's lives and we'll invoke kind of this documentary mindset anytime we need to cross a boundary or a line that we maybe shouldn't, and expose these very young, impressionable people who feel like they're shooting for the stars and chasing a dream. And then all of a sudden you have these people being put in these very vulnerable situations and potential dangerous situations that, you know, can really affect their mental health for potentially the rest of their lives.
And at the end of the day, like, none of this helped any of these women with a modeling career. Like, I mean, you hear Danny talk about, like, I was signed to this agency and they would not book me. They would not let me go to castings because I was seen as a reality TV star and not as a model. And like,
that is the curse of a reality TV star, regardless of it's America's Next Top Model or The Bachelor, is the incredible access you get and the zero credibility I talk about.
well, they didn't even give her the access. They just,
they
they
had
wouldn't
access-
even let her go.
In the sense, no, they had access to, like, they're on TV, they're working with Tyra Banks, they're working with these very influential personalities, they're being signed to agencies, but the credibility they lacked is the fact that, oh, you're on a reality TV star, you're only here because of X, Y, or Z, or you're just a distraction because, like, you know, because of the TV experience. But yeah,
I do
it
think
certainly didn't match these women's expectations of what they were going to get coming out of that show.
I do think that that's changing now. I mean, you're seeing that with like Alandria from Love Island and Paige DeSorbo. Like, that is something that for, I think, like, it's good that it's changing and that.
Yeah, I mean, now finally in 2026, you know, how many decades later, you are seeing reality TV stars being treated like stars, but it's been an evolution for sure. We will certainly get into more of this documentary as it unfolds and as you watch, and we'll get hopefully more personalities from this documentary. But up next, It's time to dive into some Love is Blind Season 10. We do have Kevan coming up shortly. But how y'all enjoying this season?
So good.
I say it every time. Like, I'm not a big love show person, but Love is Blind.
It's
Like bringing real people
Yeah.
into these pods and then seeing how they interact. Tyler going, redo. Replays in my head nonstop.
As she should. I mean,
As she should.
Yeah.
these are pressure cooked environments. I wish they would show more of these redos more often.
Yeah. I'm personally like, the show lights up for me once they leave the pods.
Same.
Yeah.
Then it's too many people in the pods for me to really keep track of or like.
And it's a
get to
lot of
know.
like the same conversations you're watching with just like different people because obviously they want to give their story to everyone they're dating.
But it does
So
seem
it's just
more
a
like
lot
this season, for example, like I know
repetitive.
Emma's getting critiqued or criticized a lot for like, telling
she?
her story over and over. But like,
Of
they
course,
have
she
to do
has
that
to.
with all these dates. It's just, why are they choosing to show that?
That's in the edit. Yeah,
That's in
not.
the edit. Like, of course you're gonna
You want Emma to tell everyone
every
her
single
Yeah.
date she's
story.
gonna go on.
Yeah.
She's gonna tell that story. You
It's
know?
not like she's
I
telling
mean,
the
but
same
they-
story to the same person over and over again. Like these are different relationships. I like Emma a lot, though. I will say, I've never been the biggest fan of like, oh, my number one went home, so now I'm gonna immediately go to my number two. But I do think that the way that she did it was good. Like she just kept herself open, and she was kind of like she didn't immediately go to her number two and say, "Oh, let's get married." Like she just kind of went in with an open mind and was like, I'm going to give this guy more of a chance than I was giving him before.
What do you guys think of Kevan and his love triangle?
Girl.
Well,
Hey.
he fumbled it. He
yeah.
just
Two baddies too.
yeah, and he gives interesting insight in the interview that we do with him, but I don't understand. I still don't really understand.
What don't you understand?
I think that his biggest problem is that he said too much of what he was thinking out loud.
Maybe so, but like, I think we forget that when we're watching it, we get to see everyone. He hasn't seen any of them, and I don't know how you guys would be in the pods. But with the pressure of a marriage around the corner and the inability to like see what they look like would definitely fuck with me.
But also, didn't he not say like, I'm not here to find a girlfriend or something? I'm here to find a best friend. And it was like,
He
babe,
did say something like that, yeah.
Yeah,
It's
but
like, it's
that
not
is
the
like
show.
bad choice of words.
It was. He thought
I think he
like,
was
doing
trying to say,
something.
I'm not just looking for a girlfriend. I'm looking for like a real connection or like a meaningful relationship. He
a
used
wife?
Sure. Yes. I mean,
I don't think that he was doing this on purpose, but he was just driving them crazy. Like the Tyler thing where he asked her to be his girlfriend.
Yeah.
She went to get some chips and guac. She comes back and all of a sudden he's telling her about how much he loves Kia.
No, Leia's so right because he said almost too much because then he started the craziness in like the lobby for
Yeah.
the girls because now they're hearing, wait, he told me that actually he wants me but not you, but now
Yeah.
he's saying that he wants you, not me. And
I
it's
do
like,
love that Kia and Tyler remained
too.
best friends
Yeah.
and like never let this get in between
Yeah.
the two of them. But I do think that he just like he didn't need to tell Tyler so much of how he was feeling for Kia and vice versa. It was
Yeah.
like keep the relationship here
Like,
between me and you.
Kia and Tyler did the right thing when they were like, no, like choose me or say it now. And then Kia, when she was like, no, you're not mature enough.
Yeah,
yeah.
it's
Like, that
kind of
was a
like I'm not
power
your
move.
therapist. Like I don't
Yes.
need to hear about your other relationships.
Mhm.
Like
well, let's hear it from the man himself. Kevan joins us up next to talk about his whole experience, and then we'll break down the rest of the Love is Blind episodes through 6. Kevan, welcome to the show.
Hey, how's it going, everybody?
We're doing great. How are you doing, more importantly?
I'm doing pretty good.
Okay.
It's been one hell of a week, but it's been a good week though.
Well, talk to
Good
us
week so
about
far.
that. What is, I'm always fascinated with people who go on these shows. I did a love competition show, and people are often like, what you signed up for? And then it's always like, no, no one really knows until they do it. So I am curious
They
to
have
start
no idea
things.
what they signed up for.
Going into this experience, what was your expectation? And then once you got to go through this experience, what was the reality of that expectation?
My expectations really was going into it with just testing me, seeing if that is I could truly fall in love with someone without ever seeing them and develop those deep feelings and connections with someone. I think going into it and actually like being in it is just like, wow, like I can't believe I'm actually really able to, connect with someone without ever seeing them. And with that experience, I think going through it, it was just like, eye-opening for me, honestly. It really changed my perspective on just dating in general.
In what way?
Honestly, just being able to be more in depth with your feelings and emotions, man. Like, us in society, like we're so most of the time we meet people, it's out either drinking at a bar, at wherever you're out with your social events and stuff. And so it made it to be like, man, I need to definitely have to be more intentional and honestly just figure out what you really want out of, your partner and moving forward. So
Yeah.
it definitely opened my eyes a ton.
I'm curious, what was, at your comfort level, I don't
Mhm.
need to share too many details, certainly no names or anything like that,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
what was your dating
Yeah, yeah.
history prior to going on Love is Blind? And did you have a specific experience, I guess, that maybe affected you in a way that made you more open to this kind of crazy social experiment?
No, not really an experience that made me more open to it. I would say like really dating history, it was just very surface level. Like it was very hard to, get people to open up and really express themselves of what they want out of their future, what they require. It was just very, hey, you're attractive, I'm attractive. We're going through dates, we're having a good time and vibe. And it's almost like the cycle effect. Like you're just stuck in the dryer. You're just trying to get out. So
Yeah.
So really that was really honestly my main experience.
There was a moment you were talking to Tyler in the pods, and you were really trying to be honest with Tyler, and she was quickly getting frustrated. And then like she got up and walked away, and I forgot specifically what you said, but you're like, I'm just trying to tell you how I'm feeling. What did that experience teach you about yourself? And I guess, could you just elaborate on how you felt in that moment and what you were trying to do?
In that moment, I was trying to put my words together to let her know that, I'm going through this whole experience and I do have connections with other women in this experiment. What I did poorly though is I wasn't putting the words together appropriately, honestly. I should have been more direct and just, let her know in that moment. And I didn't give her that reassurance.
Yeah.
And so looking back on that just was tough. And she had every right to, have that reaction. I mean, if I was on the other side and I heard that, I wouldn't feel comfortable either. I didn't do a good job of getting her that reassurance. So learning about myself and, going from how I was going in the pods, talking through those feelings and things of that, it was harder for me to express that because I had deep feelings for her at this very moment. And I was just like, damn, I don't want to break your heart. I don't want to let you down. And so that's where the struggle was coming because I was torn. But at the same time, I'm not going to sit up here and lie and not be honest. Like I'm never, coming. I'm going to come in and be transparent all the time. That was my main goal.
In dating in general, I think that's something we all struggle with, that balance between being honest and direct, knowing that the conversation we want to have might be received in a way that might hurt their feelings. And then sometimes in dating, it's that lack of directness that ends up hurting their feelings more because they will kind of fill in the gaps of the things that we're not saying and always like assume the worst type of thing. I'm curious, if you were to go back to that conversation in this moment, what would you have wanted to say to Tyler?
Really just let her know, like, hey, I have strong feelings for you. I'm loving where the direction and things were going, but I do have feelings for Kia. And that was really the main voice. It wasn't like, oh, now I have more or anything like that. I was just wanted to be honest and transparent in what was going on through my mind at that moment.
So things ended obviously with you leaving single. And sorry, or maybe you're not sorry.
Shit happens.
Yeah, shit, there you go. Kia had some very kind of pointed things to say, specifically that you weren't ready for marriage. Do you feel like that was fair criticism for Kia?
I look at it this way: going into the experiment and dating and going through everything, I came in full on, hey, I'm ready for marriage. I'm ready to find my wife. But going through the experience, I also found out like, hey, we're not always going to be perfect. Nobody's going to be gung-ho, ready to do everything. So her criticism of that, sure. I mean, I think in that moment, there was definitely things I could have worked on and improve as a man. But I do still feel like I'm ready for marriage.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just in that moment with her, I probably wasn't, the right guy in that moment for her.
A lot of the audience watching it, I think, were a little confused by why you asked Tyler to be your girlfriend while you still had feelings for Kia and were kind of still pursuing that. What was your reasoning for asking Tyler to be your girlfriend in that moment?
In that moment, so that was the day before we were our proposal day going into it. And so leading up to that, I really was going back and forth, trying to decide. And with Tyler, like we had such a dope connection in that time. And I was like, let's just do this. Let's actually see if we can, move forward and figure out things. And I wanted to have a last conversation with her because we did need to address and, talk through a few things. The only issue is that the timing was a little bit messed up. And that's one mistake that I do regret is just how that played out as far as for that timing. She made an excellent point. I didn't really get a chance to, have that conversation with Kia going into that moment. So how it played out, I mean, I really was just expressing to Kia like how much of an amazing woman she was, but I also made it very clear that, hey, like I was going into telling her like, hey, yesterday I did go ahead and let Tyler know that I would like to move forward and see where things could lead. But of course, how it played, how you guys seen it, was, I got cut off and she wanted to explain to me the things I needed to work on and things of that nature. And so I think for me, that was important to let her know, like she was so amazing. You're nobody's second choice. And I didn't want her to feel that way. I didn't want her to ever see that way. And the way that she led that was beautiful. I mean, I was really appreciative of how, she opened up to me and really just, gave me that closure in that moment. So I'm really appreciative of her for that.
Did you keep the watch and has it helped you stay in check?
I did keep the watch.
Okay.
And absolutely. I think about it all the time. I mean, both women, they really taught me a ton about myself. And yes, I definitely check that watch all the time. But yeah, it's right at home here on my dresser.
Tyler you would have proposed to her?
Yeah, I think I would have. Absolutely.
You think you would have proposed to Tyler over Kia if Tyler had stayed?
Yeah, absolutely. But at the same time though, I completely understand why she didn't stay. Because I did a shit poor job of giving her the reassurance that she needed to show up that day. And so I understand where I came from at that point of I just needed to be better as far as communicating those feelings with her and making her feel secure. Like going back and forth. I should have been gung ho of like, okay, this is what we're doing now. But I didn't give that to her, and she did not want to chance that, and I don't blame her at all for that.
Was there any part of you that wanted to fight for a relationship with Tyler after you left the pods?
After I left the pods, really, honestly, it was a lot of self-reflection. I'll be honest. It was really of like, okay, if I ever, if that happens where I meet an amazing woman, that I got to make sure that I'm being direct and having my point and being able to communicate my feelings and thoughts. Like it's tough. Like it's hard, especially like you said, as a man, like we are not always the best at that. Sometimes we shut down, you get quiet, then you like, it's okay to, put your heart on the line. And so, for me, it was more so mainly just self-reflection.
Watching it back, is there one thing that you feel like you should have done differently?
Absolutely. I feel that I shouldn't have had both of those connections going into engagement day. We should have figured that out probably earlier, but at the same time, that's not the experiment. So I'm going through the experiment and trying to see it out as whole and let it play out as well, because, I really, really did start developing strong feelings for Kia as well. But looking back, that's really probably what I should have done.
When Tyler left and you had that final conversation with Kia, if she had been willing to, would you have proposed to her?
In that moment, no. I wouldn't have proposed to her.
So you were ready to go home after Tyler left?
Yes. I think really that conversation that I was having with Kia was more so just like closure
Okay.
of just everything that we've been through this experiment. And I just really wanted to just let her know how thankful I was for her to come into my life. She really helped me a ton.
Mhm.
Like, we shared a moment there. She was expressing just things that she's lost in her life and talking about her father. And like, I think honestly, like, the last time I've like cried
Mhm.
was in the pods with Kia. Like, that's the last time I actually like cried in real life. And so I just really wanted her to know like how special she was, and yeah, just have that closure. But to the point, I had already like made that decision, and there's no way I was just going to be like, okay, Tyler's going home. Let's just go
Yeah.
see. No, I wasn't doing that.
And it seems like Kia, despite, maybe having stronger feelings for Tyler at the end of it, touched you and you enjoy your time with her and you probably really valued that time. That all being said, is there any part of you after you left that wish you would have just solely focused on your connection with Tyler rather than kind of get yourself into a little bit of a love triangle?
No, actually, I don't have any regrets about that at all, because that wasn't really what the experiment was about.
Okay.
Like, you never know. Like, me and Kia, like, we really didn't get to that type of connection where it got really mangled and confused in my head till like maybe like day 6, day 7. Like, it was pretty late on into the process. And so, yeah, because the way that they do it, you can eliminate people as you're having your connection move on, and then you solely just have those days with those people. But I was, giving the experiment its fair shot and, putting everything out there. So I wanted to, do right. So no, to answer your question, no, I don't have any regrets in regards with that.
Are you still in love with Tyler?
We haven't talked in a while. I'll be honest. And I mean, she's an amazing woman. But I can't say I'm in love with her now. It's been a little bit of a time
Yeah,
gap.
yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, man, she's truly one of one. She's amazing. She's amazing.
What was it like for you? I don't know when you learned about their physical appearances, because you're behind the pod, and so
Yeah.
obviously now we all get to see what you all look like, as viewers. What was it like for you to learn about what both of these women looked like, and how did you process that?
First reaction was, woo, wow.
They're both
I
hot.
fucked that up. Like, they're both beautiful. Like, oh my
Yeah.
God. And I was looking up like, oh shit. No, I'm so serious. Like, they're both like just drop dead gorgeous queens. Like, it was crazy. So to see that, I was like, oh wow, okay.
It's always fascinating because, like, what I love about the show, they really own the fact that this is an experiment. In 2026, with dating apps being what they are, I think a lot of people, quite honestly, struggle with too many, the feeling of having too many choices. You're on these dating apps, you got 5, 10 matches, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And I feel like that gets very confusing for people. What will you take from this experience, and what will you kind of leave behind and be like, that was just specific to that social experiment?
Yeah, I think for me, dating, the main thing that I took away from the experiment is being able to communicate and being able to express your feeling. Like, it's okay to be vulnerable. I think a lot of times we just shut down and just like, oh, I don't want them to know that. Like, we didn't have a choice in this moment because I'm talking to a wall, So it's just like the only way I can be able to get to know you is to really get to know you. And as the days went on, they got longer and longer and longer. The dates got longer. And so you're just finding out different things about your partner and different things that you want them to know about you and vice versa. So going into dating, like now in the future, I'm not going to shy away from that. It's not just going to be, hey, you're a good looking girl, you're attractive, I'm attractive, let's be attractive together and see what happens. This is just like, let's actually find out what makes you cry and what makes you sad, what makes you scared, what are some things that actually bring you joy and peace. Like, what are some things you need from me and I need from you in order for us to be comfortable together? And relationships are a roller coaster. They go up and down. So, but that is the biggest thing that I learned there, going through the experiment.
What is advice you would give to anyone out there listening, who are out there on the apps, they're dating, and they come to you and say, hey, Kevan, you went through Love is Blind. You were caught up in a love triangle. It didn't work out. Give me some advice on how I should handle having some feelings about two different people.
Follow your heart, man, and trust your gut. Like, a lot of times us as men, we know who we like more than the other. Like, and we know typically it's almost a matter of like, you don't want to lose someone over here. And you like you said, you have so many options like, oh, well, she does this differently. And she did, you start comparing and contrasting. It's just like, no, if you really, really fall in love with someone, put your foot down, let them know, hey, this is how I'm feeling. This is what I need from you. And I would love to, get these things back from you as well. And really just move forward. It doesn't have to be, we get so distracted because like you said, we have so many options. You got social media, you got dating apps, you got everything. It's like, it's a Rolodex at that point. So don't do that. If you really have those feelings for someone, put your foot down, let them know.
I know we have 7 couples now who have gone on their retreats. Did you watch episode 6?
I actually did not get a chance to watch episode 6.
Okay.
Yeah.
Alex and Brittany have a conversation about how they're not necessarily attracted to their partners. What's your opinion on that? Do you feel like once the engagements happen, like that should be where you lock things off? Or do you kind of feel like the experiment continues in a way and like they're all still fair game to kind of continue to talk to each other? Because I know also Bree was interested in like continuing to talk to her ex. So I'm just curious to know your opinion on like moving forward into the next phase of the experiment. Is it still kind of open?
That's a good question. I don't necessarily, because of course I didn't get to that point, but I mean, what I will say is, me personally, like, I hate like lying and not being truthful and being upfront with people and just telling them that. So, I mean, if that's something that happens and is brought up in conversation, I mean, I would bring it up to my partner and just kind of talk through it. But to answer your question, as far as like, is it fair game or anything, like, I wouldn't say that necessarily. I just think that it's okay to have honest conversations and be real. I mean, we did all this in a few weeks and we're just now seeing each other for the first time. It's okay to express, how you feel.
Is love blind for you, Kevan?
In that moment, yeah, it was. For me, I came in, like, even in my interview, I came in a little bit skeptical. I'm like, there's no way this is too fast to really develop those types of feelings for someone. But man, the way that they had it set up and going through the experiment, you definitely can fall in love without ever seeing someone. It's just a matter of, the next part. And fortunately, my journey didn't get to that next part.
How's your mom doing and what does she think of the show?
My mom's doing well. She's doing good. She was getting a laugh at, seems like, you talk about me on national television.
That's sweet.
I mean, yeah, Mom, I gotta like open up and talk about my life. Like, this is real shit. This is my life. So, but she was proud of me. She never really seen me in that type of light before of, opening up and expressing my feelings and shit. So, like, really, like, my mom's never really seen that. I've brought few girlfriends around to my mom. Like, you gotta be super special to meet her. So
yeah.
But she was proud of me though. So that's all that matters. That's all I ever care about is like the people that love and care about me.
There you go. Jordan's chocolate chip cookies, were they that special or were they just like another chocolate chip cookie?
That boy Jordan can throw down, man. I'm telling you.
Let's go.
He gets to it. I'm like, we coming in the morning. He's already got the breakfast going. Like, man.
Was he one of your closest friends there?
Oh man, yeah, me and Jordan was cool, man. He's I like people who just have very just down to earth. I'm just one of the guys. At the end of the day, we're in Ohio. I'm in the Midwest. Like, it's fun. Don't get me wrong, but at the end of the day, like, we like sports. We drink beer. We play darts. We shoot pool. It's just one of those. It's nothing spectacular. So if anybody like that is right on my alley. So yeah.
I'm actually curious, Kevan. The fact that you haven't finished watching all the episodes. Why? I'm curious. I'm actually really intrigued by that because I think most people in your shoes would, as soon as it drops, watch all 6 episodes. But why have you decided not to?
I just stopped after my journey ended.
He watched his part.
I respect that.
Yeah, this isn't about me anymore. I don't care. That's
like,
real.
I watched all of it up until 6, but you gotta like. We were there for like each episode's an hour. I was kind of tired. I just haven't gotten the chance to, and I was kind of beat.
Were there any of what you watched, the connections we got to see, What has surprised you the most versus like what you experienced with your castmates, specifically the men that you interacted with? And I'm sure they, came back from the pods, downloaded their feelings. You guys all talked about things. What have been some of the more surprising things now that you got to see things on the other side?
Well, it seemed like a lot of my guys, they got locked in pretty early, and they knew like exactly what I wanted. And meanwhile, I'm over here going back and forth with trying to figure out my feelings and where my heart's at. So I think really that was probably the biggest surprise. I wasn't going in expecting that to happen to me, to be honest. So.
Of the episodes you've seen and of the couples that we know of now, who are you? Is there anyone you're really rooting for?
I really love my man Vic and Christine. Like I love their connection. Like it's so awesome. He was gung ho from the beginning, and I love the fact that they were able to just bond over faith, because that's one thing I struggle with is being in depth with my faith and making sure I'm praying every day. Make sure. And Vic was really, he really opened my eyes to just like wake up in the morning, get to the gym, say prayers, read read the Bible in the morning. Like it's just, I really love where he was coming out from that, and so I was really happy for that. He found somebody that is on a lot of those same pages with him.
Kevan, one more question. If you were to run into Tyler, what is one question you would want to ask her?
What could have I done differently to have you show up that day?
Okay.
Honestly.
All right, great question.
If I could tell her anything, I just wanted her like, I'm proud of her for being able to put her heart on the line like that, be vulnerable like that with me, express those feelings, and she's truly one of one and amazing. So I love that.
Kevan, we really appreciate it taking the time. It's been really been a pleasure getting to know you and watching you on the screen. You seem like a really stand-up guy, and wishing you nothing but the best going forward. And again, thank you for taking the time.
Oh, absolutely. I appreciate it. Thank you guys so much for having me.
All right,
Thank
take care,
you,
buddy.
Kevan.
Good luck.
Absolutely. You guys take care.
Take care. Bye-bye.
I mean, I'm even more confused now.
Okay, here's my thing with Kevan. It's like, and this is relatable to me. Sometimes it's like you shouldn't say things. It's like he was just talking too much, and he was saying too many things in the pods.
We want our men to be more open and communicate more, but only if.
Maybe just don't communicate the same thing that you said to someone else.
Hey, listen, guy. I mean, most of us, we're not, we haven't been doing this for a long time, being vulnerable.
Well, Nick, okay, it would be like this. It would be like this, right? You're the bachelor.
Yeah.
And every time you talk to this one woman, you're talking about another woman. It's like, no, just keep our relationship, the two of us. Like, it doesn't need to always be.
I get it.
Like, that's for your journal, not for the girl you're talking to.
To Nick's point, though, I do think Kevan was trying to be open and like transparent, because it is such a condensed process. I just think that it came off like he was being a little too much. And
he doesn't want to lead them on, and he doesn't want to
I hear it. I hear that. But even in our interview with him, when he said like it was Tyler, like he did choose Tyler, but for some reason he kept Kia around still.
It was frustrating. Well, I mean, not frustrating. Interesting to hear him say that, and I felt frustrated for him. But I think that's his revisionist history. We now know that like he has got to see what they look like. Probably at least a year has gone by. So I'm not saying he's not being honest about his feelings towards Tyler, but like maybe there's some revisionist history, going on from how he felt in the moment in the pods versus how he remembers how he felt today.
I will say he did handle himself, I think, very well compared to what I think other men would have responded when Kia was like, you need to grow up. You're not ready for marriage. I think most men probably would have like taken a lot of offense to that and like snap back. But I think he handled it so well, being like, you're right. Okay. Thank you.
He did.
And he kept the watch.
He got some direct feedback from both those ladies, and he took it like a champ.
Yeah.
He was just like, kind of like, thank you for sharing, and I'll look into that. Kind of, he kind of acknowledged it, which to Nally's point is, that's tough to hear. Someone like coming for what you could perceive as like character or maturity, and he handled it with a lot of grace.
Yeah, it's clear that he really respected both of these women and loved them both. And I mean, Nick, to your point about revisionist history, though, like when he did say in our interview that he was not going to propose to Kia, I don't know if I believe that. Because to me, it felt like he was about to propose to her. And if she hadn't left in that moment,
I
he
think
would
we
have.
do have to be careful with editing, and how these shows are made, So I think they could easily make one moment feel more intense than it was for the sake of storytelling.
Well, he was like, I don't want you to feel like you're my second option. And she's like, I never felt like that. But also, like, can you shut up for a second and let me talk? Because I don't even want to be with you.
But also, he was her second option because he just told us in his interview that he was going to pick Tyler and that if he could do it all over again, he would have picked, like,
Yeah, it
sure,
was
but
very
I'm just saying,
confusing.
in reality, right? Like him and Tyler could have broken up. Producers could be in his ear saying, like, hey, your relationship with Kia is pretty strong. And he could have been like, yeah, but I don't know. Like, I was pretty certain I was going to pick Tyler. And they could have easily said, I don't know if this happened, but like, I'm just role playing like realistic situations in reality TV. They could say, sure, but like we have seen people realize that their initial interest wasn't like the strongest one. So just if you're open to exploring that, like maybe give it a shot. Then he goes into a pod with Kia, tries to be honest with her about his feelings and says something like, hey, if we do move forward and explore this, I don't want you to feel like my second option and things like that and yada, yada, yada. He mentally might not be remotely close to like proposing to her, but could still be like exploring that connection. And then through editing, they could drastically, change the context and make it seem like he's about to propose. Like, I'm just saying it's quite easy to
Well,
do that.
we do have 6 couples who go to Cabo, Mexico, and our one couple who gets sent to Malibu.
yes.
They're like, you are no way going to be dramatic at all, and you're
I
way
know.
too you're too emotionally mature people. So like, we're just going to give you your own vacation.
There was a reason they came out. They told
They
us
said it
what
was
the-
budget, but I was like, people aren't believing that. I
That's-
also, Christina Victor, it's like, I wanted to watch that wholesome.
Yes,
like, you
I
need
did.
wholesome amongst the
But they
chaos
have
and
previews.
drama.
Yeah, it's like
They
you
have
need a quick
previews
cut.
But they have
of
the
I
that.
need a C
iPhone.
plot.
Yeah, we see
They
them
sent
being
them
like,
with an
we went to the gym in the sauna and now we're gonna order pizza. And
To be
Yeah.
honest, it's giving YouTube vlogger. Kind of here for it.
He said new career.
Yeah.
I don't know why the fans are so precious about it, but they're not a dramatic couple, and it makes a lot of
but
sense.
neither are some of these others. I mean, I guess I don't
Yeah.
know. The preview for the next couple episodes is giving nobody gets married.
Oh no.
I don't know. I
Mm.
think they have to this season.
How do you guys think that Alex's soccer team is feeling right now?
I hope they apologized.
They really let him down.
Well, maybe. I mean, I am curious about the other side of that story.
Me too.
Mhm.
I
really?
think this is the telltale sign of if any man can only say you're dangerous, you're dangerous, you're dangerous, you're trouble, you're trouble, and she's like, I'm literally just smiling, like, what? I don't
Yep.
know.
Mhm.
He doesn't like
Maybe
you.
he's not the guy for you. I don't
Okay,
know,
valid.
or the guy for
I was-
anybody.
I was cringing throughout
Alex
that whole
seems like
thing.
one of these people, and I'm sure he's fine. And but the show is Love Is Blind. We keep hearing how attractive he is. I don't think Love Is Blind for him. Love Is Blind for him.
I know it's not.
but he's
No.
like he's constantly asking himself questions. It's like, am I attracted to other people? I don't know. Maybe I could be, but like, it's like he's always convincing himself. And he even kind of said, like, am I trying to convince myself to? Just the way he talks is so like, he's very much unsure about how he's feeling, but doesn't want to acknowledge that, and is constantly you hear his like his inner voice talk out loud.
Yeah.
It's
I'm
hilarious.
also unsure of what his type is because he was so attracted to
Mhm.
Ashley when he saw her in the reveal, and he's so into her eyes and the way that she looks at him, and now all of a sudden he's into brunettes with brown eyes.
I don't think he's into Ashley at all.
No, he's clearly not. And that conversation between Alex and Brittany, in my opinion, it's like I know that Brittany in her confessional afterwards was like, "Oh, I'm worried for Ashley," but I mean, she essentially told Alex that Alex was her type to Alex. She was like, "Oh, tall, dark, handsome, athletic."
But also
And he's
Brittany
like,
being like, have you told Ashley that she's not your type? And he's like, yeah, I mean, I could probably like tell her again. And then they go back to the room and she's like, how are any like flirty conversations? He's like, no,
Was I
nothing
flirty?
flirty.
I don't know. I
Nothing-
mean, maybe,
really
but like,
flirty.
I don't think
They
so.
probably
But-
might have perceived it like that,
Yeah.
but I don't. That's not how I just care
Yeah,
about
no.
people. And it's like, you could have been like in that moment, I had a conversation with Brittany and I learned that maybe you're not my type.
Maybe Alex will realize this when he finds someone he loves as much as I love my wife, and when you're married and just completely emotionally locked into your relationship. I'm definitely not flirty, period. unapproachable.
They're engaged now. Like, that's why I asked
No,
Kevan
but I
that
think
question.
Alex is
I'm
doing
like,
the whole like. I think a lot of younger people, even people in relationships, where it's like, I'm just being nice. I'm not being flirty. I'm just being nice. Like I'm nice. I'm a nice person. You might find it flirty, but I'm just being nice. I think for a lot of people who kind of grew up attractive and always got a lot of attention, they're natural flirts. Because like that's kind of the energy people give them. But I think eventually, when you're in a relationship that you're really committed to, you realize the difference between being nice and flirty or being polite and just like
talking about not being attracted to your partner to another woman is not being friendly.
I feel like the conversation between Brittany and Devontae was so sad.
Yeah.
Even the hickey conversation where she's like, yeah, I told him I'd give him a hickey. And he's like, yeah, I don't want one. Whoa.
Yeah, it's one of those conversations where it's like there's really nowhere to go from there because you're arguing with a wall essentially. Like you're saying how you feel and it's just everything is it does, you know what I mean? Like, well, I just don't work that way. I just can't give you that. That's just not who I am. And it's like, where do you go from there? It's like, well, then we just don't match. We
you
just
want
don't
me
match.
to touch you 24/7. You want me like I can't touch you 24/7. I can't kiss you 24/7. It's like, oh boy.
It's giving it's giving extreme introvert who went from this environment in the pods where he was in a room by himself but could talk to person on the phone, and then that would break up and they would talk to other people, and now he's like living with one person and he is like can't handle it.
It did kind of make me think of who was that couple where there was, I think it was a principal that was on his phone a lot and she didn't want him to be on his phone. Like that's what it kind of, to Nick's point, where it was giving like, I do think he's probably not into Brittany, sadly, but like it's also giving like introvert, like he just wants his space. He wants to be able to like reset. But then like in this experiment, it doesn't really look right.
Oh, there was one other thing.
Bree,
like
Okay.
what does she do? Why does she have to get to the bottom of her other connection?
she's a little too
He's
of need
moved
to talk
on.
to him. Like
Eager.
she eager. That's the word. She's
Yeah.
too eager for it. That's what's raising the flag.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but he's moved on. He's so happy with his fiance. Like, why are you needing to have this closure or needing to continue talking to this person who you had a strong connection with?
Well, you know the answer, right? I mean, like she regrets her decision and she
Mhm.
doesn't want to say that. And she is trying to find every other possible way, even to the point where she's kind of gaslighting the rest of her cast,
Yeah.
in terms of like, why aren't you guys feeling like how I'm feeling? But I'm only feeling it because of this, not because of that.
Exactly. She's like, you guys are all crazy for not doing what I'm doing. And it's like, no, we've moved on. We are in love. We love our partners. Well, I'm not going to go talk to Emma because we broke up.
Well, I have
Yeah.
a question. Is she self-producing? Because she was the one that was like, this is like boring. There's no depth here. Like, what are people doing? Like, is she trying to get the cast to be more drama?
No, I think she really is regretting her decision and she really wanted to have a chance to talk to Chris without feeling or looking a certain way.
Yeah.
And she wanted the protection of her cast to all explore these other connections in a way that didn't make her feel like she, regretted her decision.
Again, that's why I asked Kevan, I'm like, once you propose in the pods, is that the end? Are you locked off? Are you fiancés? Because this whole ending of episode 6 felt to me between Alex and Brittany's conversation and then the whole thing with Bree, I'm like, it feels like they're all still kind of open. Some of them are still open and to getting
That's
to know each
specific
other.
for 6 people right there. Yeah.
But I'm saying like they're all hanging out and doing these group things and it's like, oh, that's what Brittany looks like. Oh, that's what Chris looks like. And they're all like still like getting to know each other. And it's like,
You are kind
are
of right.
we blocked off or not? Like,
Compared to other seasons where it felt like they were couples bragging about how they're so strong with their couples, now it's the couples talking.
yeah, it almost Bree is making it
Individually.
feel like the experiment's continuing and
Yeah.
like
I mean,
she
is that-
still has the right or she still wants to get to know her other connection.
I mean, I understand the context of Love is Blind, but I think something that's always kind of confused me about Love is Blind is that aspect isn't there, because that kind of makes the show a lot more interesting to me, of the possibility of like you're engaged, but obviously this engagement is a quote unquote engagement. And there's still that wiggle room in there, which like there's a lot of tension in that. That's just like really interesting. For
I just
reality
wish she
TV.
would have done it in a way that didn't include, like criticizing her
much.
peers. Just own
Yeah,
it. Just
yeah.
be like, listen, I don't know about you guys, but like I had a lot of meaningful connections. And while I ended up with Connor, I'm feeling a certain way seeing Chris for the first time. And maybe
Yeah.
you all are like good, but like, I guess I'm not. And I just feel the need to explore that as opposed to being like, you all are emotionally surface level. And
Yeah.
I'm the only enlightened person here.
She's kind of gaslighting everyone.
Yeah. How about Amber's reveal? Her pose behind the curtain?
Oh my
You know,
God.
where she...
Oh,
They said
I
it
was
was-
laughing.
You see her
out
like
loud.
practicing it?
The internet said it took 10 seasons for someone to pose like this.
I
and I
was
loved it.
laughing out loud, and I was
She
just
looks
like,
hot.
"Yeah, you know what? Yes,
Thank you.
Yeah, it's a whole silhouette.
yeah. Do a whole little like strike a
Have a
pose,
moment.
girl.
I
I just want to
Yeah.
know what
I-
the combo was.
Diva,
was,
you're slaying.
was
Yeah.
it like
Yeah.
producers being like, you look this way? Did she see the silhouette? Was she like, I'm going to give you options? Like, that's what I want to know.
No, everything about her screams that like she came in with a plan. And
I
that's
love-
awesome.
I
I
do
love
love
Amber.
them together. Also,
Yeah,
I
do.
really
enjoy
like
their
them.
quirkiness. I hope they get
Yeah.
married. I'm really rooting for
Yeah,
them.
they're a couple who I could see. Victor also.
Yeah.
I
They
could
got some
see
nice
them.
ones.
Yeah. Oh, but the previews for the next couple of episodes looked wild. I mean, Connor being like, "Get out, get the fuck out." I do think that it's going to get spicy, and I'm interested to see what happens with Brittany and Alex
Mhm.
because I actually don't think that's the end of that. But we'll see.
We'll see.
No,
Yeah.
Alex and Brittany in that scene, they were both kind of like giving, I want to fuck you guys to each other.
Yeah, and I mean, I do think that Brittany's going to be a girl's girl in the sense that like I don't see her doing it without like having some sort of conversation with Ashley or like there being some sort of closure between Ashley and Alex first. I don't know, but I think that they are into each other.
I feel it felt like when she was like, and athletic at the end was kind of like, if you haven't picked up on it yet, I'm into you.
Yeah.
Well, okay. Well, I'm manifesting a good Rest of the Love is Blind. I'm also manifesting a really great Rest of Beverly Hills, right?
Beverly Hills is so
gonna
bad.
work.
It never left for me, but it's so bad.
I low key, Amanda girl, you're saving the show. That's all I have to say.
Well,
She's a moment.
She is kind of the only thing that is entertaining.
Mm-hmm.
no, there's everybody else is entertaining on that.
I don't even know what I would do to go on a trip to the Hamptons with Rachel Zoe. Just saying.
Erica Jane being like, where was my invite? Which I agree because I'm like, she is kind of part
I
of that
should be in
trio.
the
And it's like, where did she
Hamptons.
get removed? Yeah.
The way she's like, I shouldn't be here.
Well, if you missed the most recent episode of The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, here is your rapid recap. Rachel Zoe is so burnt out because she has not been to the Hamptons once this summer, and girl, does she need it. And thus, a plot is born. She's going to parent trap Kyle and Dorit in the Hamptons to fix their friendship. Before going, however, Dorit talks to Mo about PK. Sutton is emotional about changing her last name to Brown, probably because she doesn't want to be associated with Charlie and that damn football. Amanda is planning a manifestation moment dinner when Dorit happens to be out of town, which is manifestation at work. Mama #girlboss. Bose is concerned about the ROI on Amanda's manifesting business model. Erica is dating John. He's unshakable. Apparently, she's mad she didn't get to go on the Parent Trap Hamptons trip, though, which, as she should, because Donna Karen is there. She's an old friend of Rachel. Back at the manifestation moment, Erica says she'll skim Amanda's book. Amanda opens up about manifesting being Malibu Barbie and how incredible it is that it worked. Sutton manifests a reality check for Amanda by telling her she should know better than to pretend she didn't talk about Dorit and ending it with an ultimate flamer. You're a big girl. You're not a young spring chicken. Amanda does not accept this energy into her aura because she does not think she caused drama between Kyle and Dorit. She also gets sensitive about being called a wimp. Erica is like, oh, honey. Rachel talks about how hard it is to be blonde and having a pathetic ex-husband. Dorit thinks she's making a lot of sense. Kyle, of course, can't relate because she's a brunette and Mo is still charming. Anyway, manifesting a chaotic second half of the season.
I'm really just here for what
Yeah.
is the growing hate between Bose for Amanda.
It's so awesome. Like, here's the thing about the two of them is that, like, of course, they're like two opposite sides of the spectrum of like
Success.
just philosophies of success and
Yeah.
philosophies of life. Bose is so much like, I work very hard. I like active goals, spreadsheet diva. You know what I
Corporate
mean? Like
girly.
she is type A. She is like managing money. She understands business. And then the worst kind of person for someone like that to interact with is someone that was like, it's all vibes. And I did it. And I know Bose is just like, what the fuck?
Them sitting down at that table being like, okay, so we're going to start off with writing one of a prompt. And Bose is like, yeah, so she actually didn't want to read here.
She said, girl, we're not doing this.
She said, you didn't manifest it. You just didn't invite her.
That might have been Bose's best moment so far.
Literally.
No, I think it was her being like, you have to look this up when she started to Google accosted.
The money queen. What is that called?
Oh
Doormat?
my God.
That's
doormat.
a crazy doormat.
And then them going, it's crooked.
You know
That was
what?
the
I think
most- that
Amanda's
was
iconic.
awesome.
I think the Vibes Manifest girlies make so much money and are like they just make things happen.
Oh,
And it's
listen,
also-
she's
Yeah.
I'm a fan.
No,
She is.
I could watch
Speaking
hours.
of my intruder syndrome, having a money queen
Doormat?
doormat is like, please, come on
They're
in.
like, no, there's just stacks of cash inside.
No.
Queen
so
is here
true.
too.
But she
Money.
manifests safety, so it's fine.
Oh.
Yeah.
She did change the gate from a picket fence to as Sutton
She's
called
like,
out.
it was not
Mhm.
lost on me that I too had a house in Malibu and I oversaw looking at dolphins. And
Oh,
I'm
the
like, you
Barbie.
have to have some incredible eyes to see dolphins from that view, babe.
That made me laugh. So it's like the thing when the girls get so mad at her for always just like her subtle flexing, and she has no idea. And
Is
then
it
she was like,
subtle?
yeah,
It's
I just
not.
wanted
Well,
to be
you know,
Malibu
you know
Barbie.
why? I imagine though, and I guess this is in some ways defending Amanda, but her whole business model is her story. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? It's like, I've overcome this, I've done that. This is what, I was in a cult, and so she literally probably doesn't know how not to like use her story as a way to motivate and inspire those
Yeah.
who are looking to be inspired by her. But it doesn't land with anyone who's like, yeah, I didn't ask you to inspire me. We're just having dinner.
And Erica being like, can't wait to skim.
I can see how, like, for Rachel Zoe, especially someone who's been working in this industry, or in her fashion industry for like years, started at the bottom, came
Mhm.
up, and then same for Bose, where it's like to hear somebody be like, I played with my Barbie Malibu house, and I just knew one day, and it's just
That's
like,
a great Amanda.
but like that's where I'm just like I can see where like why she gets under their skin, and then of course it's going to play out as if like these women are mean girls because they aren't giving her a chance. But sometimes when you hear somebody talk in a way that you just can't comprehend, you just your brain just shuts
Yeah.
off. It's just like I can't vibe with this.
Yeah, and I think Amanda's like biggest issue is not her manifestation powers, right? I think it's the fact that she'll say it's her completely not understanding that she is on a completely different wavelength than everyone else, and they're not necessarily going to
Like
receive.
she's
that.
living her practice. It's a law of attraction. She's
law of
literally saying like, I
attraction.
want this, I have this, and that's how she manifests.
But for law of
Yeah, it's just a
attraction, you have
little
to be
obnoxious
reciprocal of that.
Y-
You have
just
to be
comes off-
reciprocal of the other energy. It's
But
like
then-
she's not reciprocal of anyone else's energy.
And you can't manifest changing how housewives conversations go down. Like, you know what I
Exactly.
mean? If you manifested yourself on this show, then you had to have known that these women aren't going to be like, listen, the way that you're speaking to me, I don't really agree with it. They're like, bitch, I don't understand you.
I
Like,
Yeah.
think she needs to lean in and go, I'm manifesting you're not talking to me anymore. Or
Yeah,
I'm
like-
manifesting you're done speaking.
Girl, go nuclear on them.
Yeah.
I know you can.
that's what I kind of want to
Yeah.
see. But I'm like, at the same time, I'm like, do I? I just don't know. Like, I just don't
Oh,
know.
I
I just
wanna
don't know
see
if
it.
if it's going to fit.
I want to see what she would look like actively mean instead of a little petty.
Who here felt like Dorit was lying about PK?
And my hands up.
Yeah, my hands off.
I'm sure that Mo has PK's back, but the Mo I saw was a very kind of the pragmatic Mo. I saw business Mo,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
who was really gently trying to like check Dorit.
Mm-hmm.
And she, and it's funny, it seemed like a big projection because Dorit's whole excuse was like Mo came in with a script, kind of came in with a playbook. And that's kind of how it came across for Dorit, which is like, I'm just going to stay on script. I have this narrative. And he's just like, I get it, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can certainly fake a text thread here or there, but I don't think PK has it in him to fake what came across,
No,
as
it
Mo
was-
explained, as like a whole like
Yeah,
days,
Dorit was
a whole chat.
in Dorit's like interview moment. She's like, PK's really good at isolating text messages and whatever. And it's like, well, Mo is saying that he gave him his phone and he scrolled through your text thread. That's not being like sent a screenshot or, like that's him just reading y'all's texts. And then for Dorit to be like, well, let me go look. And I think it would have
the
been a
scene
little
ended.
bit more fair had she been like, well, why don't you look through my phone and you read our text messages? But she's like, let me look for that spreadsheet. I'm not
It's-
finding it anywhere. See?
It's just so
not there.
messy. It's so messy. I'm like, why are we having Mo come in here to play like in between when we already said Kyle doing it and Kyle's relationship struggle? It's just too much.
Is
They're
Mo
airing
pretty
too
much a
much.
friend of at this point? Like
He's a friend of on every
all
single show.
Housewives. Yeah, he's the Bravo friend.
He is
of.
the busiest
the Valley
working-
Persian
He's like-
style, Potomac.
Mhm.
He's like, have you guys ever seen the movie Dream Scenario with Nicolas Cage?
No.
He's
No.
like, he keeps showing up in everyone's dreams, and
But
that's
he-
what Mo feels
I
like.
thought he was really charming in the scene because it seemed like he was really trying to help and really trying to keep it moving things forward. And he's like, what can we agree on? Let's not focus what we can agree on and things like that. But yeah, that wasn't the best scene for Dorit because Mo came across as very credible and
None of
unbiased.
y'all raised your hands thinking that Dorit was lying.
Well, because I feel like she has her experience and she's speaking from her experience. That being said, I think this whole conversation should have not been on camera. Like, I feel like she probably has truth in what she's saying. And I think Kyle and Mauricio are hearing it from PK's side. So, like, there can be two truths in this
I'm like,
situation.
There's a possibility that maybe it was a text message, maybe it was an email that she didn't check or something. And that's where I'm just like, I feel like that is her truth. Doesn't mean that it's the actual truth. No. But
Well,
I'm
I mean,
like,
just to be clear, her truth is that PK is almost inaccessible to her.
mhm.
Doesn't want to see the kids.
Doesn't want to see, wants nothing to do with the kids, is hiding all the money. It's like, I mean, not even it's like, I mean, everything she's saying is like the worst possible version of like from a, in a divorce standpoint, and maybe it's all true, but again, it's interesting hearing Mo's perspective.
I don't think that Dorit doesn't have any fault in this by any means either. But what I'm saying is that like a conversation between PK and Mauricio is going to go completely different than a conversation between Dorit and PK because obviously they're separating. They
Sure.
have resentment and other things. So it's like maybe one thing gets said and it's never going to be a productive conversation. Like she said last episode that they were at like a meeting and that they didn't even get to finances because they were bickering about whatever else for an hour.
That's the part where it's like, to me, it's like when you coming out of a divorce, everybody goes into kind of a survival mode. And I feel like they're both telling their people their experience in it. And like Dorit did give him, like she was saying he wanted to have every Thursday to Sunday every other week. I gave him that, but the money is what I'm worried about. And then Mauricio's
Yeah.
clapback is, well, he's drinking wine. And it's like, well, that's like,
Well, no,
this
she
isn't
said that he was
beneficial.
back drinking like he was. And he was like, well, I have been out with him and he's not like getting plastered and blackout. He's having like maybe a glass of wine here, maybe two. So
but
like,
maybe that's what she considers drinking. That's why, like, to me, I'm just like, this is
Yeah.
a messy conversation for like TV in general.
Well, and that's what I said, even like with last week's episode about Kyle, that I was like, well, the advice that Kyle's giving Dorit about like, you shouldn't be discussing this on the show is good advice. It just can't come from her for some reason. But I'm just like, at the end of the day, to Justin's point, all of these like minor details that in Dorit's mind is venting or whatever, like you just don't know how this can be used against you because it's not a good look.
or just her
Mhm.
kids watching back. I think it's just like a
100%.
tough
Yeah.
situation. I do appreciate really quickly Sutton sharing her experience with an annulment. Like my mom's gone through an annulment. I don't think we see this on TV or hear about it that often, but it's a super complex process, especially because it's separate from the legal process. And like removing your name, especially if you've been raised in that religion, like it's a very difficult thing. So for her to just share that is very
It's very,
interesting.
to Justin's point, obviously it's all about the religious aspect. And from the
Yeah.
religious aspect, an annulment means this
Mhm.
never existed. This
In the
never
eyes of
happened.
God.
I'm actually surprised he was granted an annulment. To your point, Justin, to have the religion you grew up on, or just that's been important in your life at some level, say this didn't exist,
Mhm.
must be very, very difficult emotionally to deal with. And especially to Sutton's point, women in your 50s, a lot of transitional things going on at that point. You're an empty nester, not sharing the same names as your kids is no doubt very difficult. And I think, yeah, it was very endearing hearing her open up in such a vulnerable way about that topic.
Yeah, especially if you're trying to like remarry, because a lot of the times you can't remarry in the church if you have a previous marriage that wasn't annulled.
Yeah.
So like whether her husband's trying to move on or whether she's trying to move on, like I just think like her calling her daughter to check with her to me was very powerful. So I've
Yeah.
seen my mother do that, and I just think like her sharing that experience gives a lot of other women, I guess,
Yeah.
representation.
Yeah, I think Sutton is doing something really, really brave, honestly. You can kind of feel it within her energy this season a little bit too, like the whole Sutton Brown. She feels like she can kind of let it go with the name change. And I think that's a very, very powerful thing for a woman to be able to do, to kind of like take her, and obviously like people have different feelings about like taking your husband's last name, whether or not you want to do that. Like it's all, it's whatever you want to do. But I think for her, what I'm picking up on, and maybe this is just projection in my opinion, is like her kind of like taking that power back within herself and like stepping into herself again in a way that she hasn't really been able to do before. And I just like love that for her, you know?
Yeah.
All right, well, that will do it for today's episode. Thank you to our guests, Nigel Barker and Kevan from Love is Blind. Also, tomorrow we have an incredible Going Deeper with Rosanna Pansino. Many of you already know who she is. She's the internet baker, cooker. She taught many of us how to cook, how to bake, and she is just an incredibly dynamic person with so many stories about how she got started on YouTube and some of her creators and peers throughout the time. I can't even go into how fascinating it was, but that is tomorrow's Going Deeper, and you are not going to want to miss that episode. Until then, have a good day. Hey guys, if you loved what you listened to, make sure you hit that subscribe button below. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.